Alright, hello and welcome, Giraffe League fans. So today, we're going to be covering the semifinal tiebreaks and then the finals series. Now,
Are you sure you're live? It says...
yes.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Nice, just doubt me. Cool. So anyways, today, a little bit of a special episode. We're going to have a bunch of people in call. Right now, it's just me and Wyatt and a bunch of muted people, but we are in the Flex Appeal Discord call, and I told people they're free to get me demonetized. So, it should be a fun one. To celebrate, I'm rocking the Scovillain shirt. We Scovillains. Booyah. Okay, let me plug the stream in the appropriate places real quick, and then we can get started. Okay, my server, my content, at streams roll. If you're interested, link down in the description. And then I get to see the thumbnail when I post it. That's so funny. Dang. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. So there's a lot of brain rot that has happened this season, but it's been a lot of fun. Alright. So anything we want to say for an intro? I mean, Wyatt, he's here. He's the only one that has the mic on. But
hello.
So good season from you, the Dookie Whisperer. We'll get to some of your games. Well, your game.
One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, OG Albina. Yes. Very cool. So, let's take a look at some of these tiebreak games first. So this is going to be game one, Jake versus Void of Darkness. So both these players, really strong records going into tiebreaks. This is for semifinals, by the way. I didn't mention that already. This is Flex Appeal versus these Spectral Thieves. Right. Last time we did a stream, we ended at 4-4, so we're just wrapping up this before we get to the finals. So Jake is bringing this Mega Glade team that we drafted. There's a Honchkrow here, aka Thanos. But on the other side, there's also some Thani, aka Dookie. How's the results looking, chat? We just started the stream, you didn't miss anything. Right. What do we bring here? It was, this is a week ago, but Glade was like Encore Protect, Scout the move, and then if it's good, you can just Encore. Really useful for like setup Dookie. By Dookie I mean Cophagragus. And then it's just CC knock, hits everything really. The Blastoise is Scarf, the Metagross is Scarf, the Honchkrow is Lum with Super Luck. Sylveon is just the thumbnails get better by the week. I'm proud of this one. This one's pretty cool. What was the Sylveon? This was Fizdef, right?
I believe it was
AV. No, we changed it to AV. Yeah. So AV, Modest Sylveon. This was too tough. And then Lando was Defensive Helmet, Rocks. Alright, let's get into the game. So Crocodile leads off into the Sylveon Big Al. Gives us a completely free Hyper Voice turn 1. Some good chip on the Tentacle and some information, right? He gets to count the Tentacle spread. And he knows he can just 2-hit KO with Psyshock. That does so much. His T-Spikes go up, but we were expecting this. That's the whole reason Honchkrow's on the team, is for the T-Spikes plus Spin Block, because you can defog around that. Unfortunately, they get the turn 1 poison on Sylveon. But now Lopunny comes in. We have Lando T, the dedicated check to this. We're going to see a Retaliate, which was exactly like the Mox. Booyah. And this into Max Defense Lando doesn't do a whole lot of anything. And we can set up our own rocks here, or we can go for a U-turn, catching the Crocodile, which is exactly what Jake's going to click. Gets a crit, but because of the J-Ricky Citrus Berry, you end up at the same amount of HP as you always did. But Taunt Crocodile prevents our defogs, so that's a good bring from them. As we just go for a superpower and we crit that too. But this one's super luck, okay? So it's not that bad. Now Lopunny in. Orlando is in 2-hit KO range from Retaliate into Return, but there's some helmet to be had, so just gonna sack it anyways. There's Retaliate, and you have to assume a Return is coming. There you go. So Lando T, he clicked U-turn once and helmeted the low pony 3 times, so job well done. Now there's no steel resist once the tentacle dies, so our Scarf Metagross is looking pretty good, especially with the Crook dead. That was their main like physical wall to this guy. There's still Dookie in the back, but Latios is going to be the switch in, and you're going to see this is max defense Lati, which is a crazy set, but it's going to work out here. And you're going to see Rocky Helmet wears down the Metagross. So this kind of set is, what does Retaliate do? So if a Pokemon dies in the previous turn and you send out your Lopunny to Revenge, Retaliate is doubled in power. So it becomes a 140 base power normal move. It's pretty cool as Revenge Killer. But now you see Rocky Helmet max defense Latios, able to not only beat the Metagross 1v1, but crucially avoid that Pursuit Trap interaction with like an AV Metagross coming in on Latios. There's a few ways to accomplish this. In Mox, some of us were bringing Reflect Rocky Helmet, so you just sit on Metagross, and then everything else is just you click dual stabs versus. But okay, they went for max defense. We go for another Meteor Mash, which does a lot of damage, and they Ice Beam, trying to predict the Honchkrow to come in for a Pursuit Trap or something like that. But no such luck, and our Scarf Metagross is able to outspeed and force this out now into their Cofagrigus. So some chip being spread, doesn't do a whole lot though. So max defense Cofagrigus, but this is our Honchkrow opportunity. Void of Darkness definitely could have made a double there. That would have been a really strong play, but did not. Instead just clicks Shadow Ball into our Honchkrow. Gets a drop, but crucially allows our Defog. It goes for a Will-O-Wisp, but we are Lumberry, so great turn from Jake. And now we can just go for a Dark Pulse with Super Luck. This is usually able to 1v1 Calm on Cofagrigus. So that was the purpose of being mixed here. And now Lopunny comes in on the next Dark Pulse. Doesn't do much, but at this point, Honchkrow has done his job. We just stay in and sack it, but they go for a Healing Wish. And this is going to bring the Latios back to full HP, which is kind of a big deal. Now our last is Sucker Punch on this, but he didn't want to allow free Calm Minds, so I just went for a Dark Pulse there. Totally reasonable. And now Big Al the Sylveon comes in for a free Hyper Voice KO. But because of the turn 1, or I guess turn 2, like, poison, right? This Sylveon HP is kind of finite. So while the Hyper Voice is going to knock out the Cofagrigus, now we're in range of stuff like Sneasel with like a Life Orb or Choice Band or something like that. So I'm going to go for a quick attack, get that chip on there, and go down to the Sneasel, which is looking to be Choice Banded from that. Now Gallade comes in, but with Lottie at full, it's kind of tough, because Lottie can just pivot in on this close combat. Takes 28, incoming knockoff, right? And we do have Encore, so this goes for like a recover. We can just lock that in there, PP stall it out basically. But we're gonna see the only way for Void of Darkness to stay in the game is what he just clicked, T-Wave. And now it's not a fast Encore, it's a slow Encore, which is way worse. So now Latios is going to click Recover. And what can we do to stop that? Not a whole lot. At least we've got rid of the helmet, so Metagross can just kind of click buttons. Goes for a knockoff just to make sure it has Roost, you know? But now Encores. Oh, you're looking cute today. Sorry, I felt like I just had to say something. It was the shirt, wasn't it? The Let's Go Villains? Yeah, probably my fit, huh? I get it. So we Encore the Latios, knockoff, just force another Roost into Mistagros. And now we go for an Ice Punch. So a crit or freeze maybe is what we're going for. I don't know. Back to Mega Gallade on the T-Wave. And this Latios looks like it might just win. See a Shadow Ball. So Shadow Ball, Ice Beam coverage. At least we lock it into Shadow Ball. Get a free switch into our Blastoise, which can click an Ice Beam here. As we get a crit on the first one. Which means now the Sneasel has to come in. It will live too, but now the Latios is crucially in range of Meteor Mash. So, maybe a little bit of luck this game, but is what it is. And Jake is going to clean it off with a Scarf Ice Punch, actually. The safe sweep. Bang. So Jake is going to win that one. Obviously a fortunate crit from us, but also our Sylveon getting poisoned first turn. Let's call it even, you know?
I don't think that's even, actually.
But let's call it that, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just call it. And everyone's still just muted. The hell?
I'm here. I just didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, yeah. I do be yapping. Yeah, yeah. So this is game 2. We have Glop versus is this Ava Kiyama, I believe?
Yeah.
That is Eva, yes.
Yes. And DPP, I'm not going to bother putting the matchup on screen. We have Mark Hunter the Zapdos into Quillfish lead. So Quillfish, this is actually the 3rd time this matchup has been played. So actually, I probably do have the matchup just on my computer downloaded already. So maybe I will just go find it real quick. Was it this?
I think you can probably look in Wagon's channel.
No, that's not it.
Should be the last thing that was pinged on his channel.
I know I downloaded it.
Yeah, it is in Wagon's channel if you want.
Yeah, anyways,
Whatever.
the last time we played, we got abused by Quillfish.
Yeah, so basically offensive Quillfish was Thanos in all of the end games. And so we wanted to be guarded against that, but also we wanted to be guarded against like a lead spikes aversion, right? Because that's also quite good into our team because we don't really have great removal. We have a Blastoise, right? But they do have a spin blocker. So we're going to lead off with Zapdos, T-Bolt into a Focus Sash, and a T-Wave, but we're prepared with the Lumberry. So the perfect Zapdos set for the situation. And then Heat Wave on the switch to Shaman, which reveals to be very especially defensive. Goes for another Heat Wave, you know, obviously fishing for some chances there. May as well. Also waste some Synthesis. Totally reasonable play. But yeah, this Zapdos looking very annoying for Eva to deal with. Heat Wave misses, so now finally the Shaman is able to click a move that's not Synth. But we just go to our own Shaman, which, awesome. They just wall each other. Cool.
God, I love this matchup.
Yeah, yeah. And then our Shaman gets crit as we go for a Toxic, but can just synth this off unless a second crit comes in, which unlikely, and they're not even going to go for it. Go hard Registeel, try to get these rocks up. Makes sense. As our Steelix comes in to trade rocks, but they doubled a Shaman. I mean, sure, I guess. But we go for rocks, and they actually get the Quillfish in before rocks, which is a good play, and it allows them to go for a T-Spike as our Steelix just stays in and knocks this out. But now Claydol can come in and go for a spin if it wants to, so Glop's going to go into Blastoise. They actually go for rocks instead. So now there's a question of, like, you have double hazard up. There's a Dusclops in the back. We do have Foresight though, so it's a little bit of a mind game. The Dusclops is going to come in. Do we click Foresight? We do not. So just going to go for a Rapid Spin into the Ghost type, unfortunate. Now we can go for a Foresight, but this time they double out, which is a really, really great play into the Shaman. And our Blastoise is forced out, and max hazards are up, and they even double to Clops to cover, like, for a Rindo Berry kind of thing. Yeah, like Rindo spin, they guard against that. So now T-Spikes and Rocks are up, and the game just got infinitely harder, right? So Shaman in, and we reveal Protect Dusclops, which is even worse, right? Because now even if you get the Foresight, you're taking Poison, you're taking Rocks, a Protect is coming, and then, like, you might be getting pretty low on HP there. So now Shaman comes in to beat Shaman, but now because of the T-Spike, they're maybe a little bit favored, more so than they were initially. But the fact that ours does have Toxic means it will 1v1 eventually, but obviously we're going to have to burn way more Synthesis PP to do so. And obviously there's always the Registeel that can come in, threaten this out. And we saw rocks on the Claydol, so this Registeel could be Curse, Boom, or something like that. Really scary stuff to switch into, potentially. So yeah, switch to Blastoise here, trying to call a switch out with a hidden power. Procs our J-Ricky. Now, do we live a Seed Flare from here? Maybe, maybe not. Gonna switch to Mesprit. Yeah, probably not, right? But Mesprit can come in, and this Mesprit is Choice Scarf. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna click Trick, I believe, here. Yeah, Trick, and now the Clops has a Choice Scarf. And this is important because this thing was pretty hard to break for our team. But now we can just Psychic a few times, and it's basically dead. Now Registeel comes in on the U-turn. Nice click from Glop, predicts the switch out. And now Steelix in on the Registeel. Can kind of just click Earthquake or Toxic. You see a Claydol come in on the Toxic. Good click from Glop. And now we protect, trying to just Toxic stall this Claydol down. It's looking okay, right? The T-Spike and Rocks Up is pretty tough, but we're managing. So Shaman comes in on the Mesprit switch, and our Mesprit is unfortunately slower and is going to die to the Seed Flare. But this does allow Weavile to come in, and this is a pretty crucial turn in the games, right? So this Shaman, the last two matchups we had with this versus them, they were Yachi Shaman to guard against this specific interaction. But this time, they revealed Leftovers, and our Weavile is in. Obviously, an Ice Punch is going to knock it out, but they do have a Registeel to come in, which could potentially go down to some low kicks, right? So this Weavile, really scary threat. But this Shaman is also a really important piece, right? Without the Shaman, the Steelix looks like it's going to just win the game, right? So it's a mind game between Ice Punch and Pursuit. Now we go for a Pursuit, but they stay in. Makes the play right and gets the Synthesis off versus the Life Orb Weavile. And now our Weavile is kind of wasted with this T-Spike up and Life Orb. It's basically dead already, and we just have to go into our Shaman in retreat. This time Registeel comes in because you don't care about Pursuit anymore, just trying to guard against Ice Punch. So Shaman in, gonna go for probably an Earth Power here, if I had to guess. Not just a Synth, that works too. But now the Shaman forcing more Synthesis. You have to stand and Toxic this. It's looking a little bit dicey. Right. Shaman switches out into the Ambipom. Last one Ambipom, by the way, was insane reveal because on their draft they had a Dragonite and a Jolteon, both really fantastic into our team, but instead Ambipom is the one in the back. So, thank you. Alright, we just have a Steelix though. Like, low kick, 120 base power, 36. Like, I don't know why they chose this to be the end game piece rather than Jolteon, which, as you can see, Jolteon is like way better. But to each their own, right? I'm just gonna protect, and now Shaman in. We can go for another protect for Leftovers, you know, keep this thing healthy for the Ambipom in the back. Makes sense. Now we stand on the hidden power, predicting like a Zapdos or Shaman pivot. That's a HP Ice, most likely. And now another protect can come. So they switch to Claydol, but with the Rocks and Toxic, this Claydol is never really recovering. Oh, we don't actually protect, we go for an Earthquake. But now we can protect back to Shaman. So not a whole lot accomplished from either side from that sequence. Another protect for some Leftovers as a Leech Seed is clicked. But now you're gonna see, shout out to DVP guys, high crit chance in this gen if they do double damage, and so our Steelix would have been at about half after Lefties and Protect, but now we just lose to Ambipom, I suppose. That's awesome. It's in tie breaks, yeah. But Zapdos can come in, and now it goes for a Heat Wave. Will 2-hit KO the Shaman, so another Synthesis is burned. With Leftovers, maybe you can avoid the 2-hit KO from absolutely full, but now misses a Leech Seed, so we'll call that justice a little bit. Now something has to get sacked, right? So Claydol is going to come in on the Heat Wave. Now here's a crucial turn, right? This could be Custap Explosion. This is something that is definitely possible. But a few things, right? Earth Power, maybe it's not like physically invested, right? So less credence to be Custap Boom, but also, can Glop even afford to scout the Custap Boom at this point? You kind of need all your pieces. Might just have to hope that it's not. He just hopes it's not, and Heatwave is going to go first. So a little bit of sigh of relief there as the Executioner comes out and is going to claim a kill with our Steelix dead. So Blastoise is going to be the sack to the Technician fake out into return combo. But they're going to go for a U-turn instead, which is totally fine. Now Clops comes in, is Choice Scarfed, so not that big of a deal. But now Zapdos comes in, and we reveal the Agility. Now this is our win condition, right? Agility Zap kind of beats the whole team 1v1, but our Lumberry's burned, And they actually lock into Seismic Toss, which allows us to go for Roost. We are the
Yeah,
Agility
pause?
Roost. Yeah.
So we were Curse Clops. If Curse was clicked here, we would have auto won. But unfortunately, we did not have the foresight, and we were scared of Substitute.
Yeah, you didn't have the foresight. We had the foresight. Shout out to Mark.
Oh, that's
Parentheses
awesome.
Hunter, the Blastoise. Well, that was kind of tough, no?
That was tough.
That was tough. But Mark Hunter, the Zapdos, is able to get that Roost off. Another Seismic, but another Roost is coming for sure. At least that's what Ava thinks, but the Heat Wave catches the Registeel on the switch. Game-winning play, because this Registeel could have just exploded versus Zapdos, force it out, and then Ambipom's kind of Thanos, right? So how did he predict the Registeel? That was... Okay. Put the counter, number 1 on the GOAT plays from Glop in this endgame. Another Heat Wave, gonna knock it out. But the game's not done. Ambipom comes in, right? And there is a fake out turn here. So fake out is going to leave the Zapdos very low, and now we have a 50-50. Is the Ambipom going to stay in, or is it going to switch out? Because if you switch out on a Roost, you're just cooked, right? But if you stay in on a Roost, you just win. But if you switch on an attack, you just fake out and you win. Oh my god, it's just a 50-50, guys. And Glop gets the 50-50 correct, and that's going to be the game.
None
Wow.
of the above were chosen. He still won though.
Yeah. Well, you stayed in expecting a Roost, right? If Roost on the switch out, you lose. So, bang. And with that, we win the tie breaks and we advance to finals. There's a third game, which I'll gloss over a little bit. Basically, we have Thanos, aka Virizion, and they have nothing for Thanos. So, let's see. The Terras are going to be Dark Goldango and Dragon on the Hydrapple. Toxapex leads off. Into the Hydrapple goes for a Toxic as Treads comes in. This one we already clinched, so... Great Michael comes in to trade rocks as Uxi's in. This allows free Zapdos on Psychic Noise. So Psychic Noise is interesting. Usually, you'd expect the Uxie to be the rocker to free up a slot on Treads in this matchup, so that already is red flags. This could be an offensive Uxie set, and now this is going to reel faster than our Zapdos, so probably more likely to be an offensive Uxie then. But our Volt Switch comes out into Good as Michael, the Goldango, and now we get to go for a free Shadow Ball, start chipping the Treads, which is going to be Spadef leftovers. Now just go for a Terra Dark. As they spin, you know, they know if we're staying in, it's to Terra Dark, but we get the Nasty Plot off in exchange for the spin. And now something has to take this +2 hit. Okie Dokie is going to be the one coming in on the Dazzling Gleam, but we have a full HP Toxapex. Gets crit, but no big deal. Just going to recover that off as Treads comes in. And Hydrapple double out. Catches our Zapdos. So now they get a free Terra Dragon hit. But we have a light screen on our Zapdos. And you're going to see Wilted Rose. 27 from the Terra Dragon Dragon Pulse. By the way, Dragon Pulse, because we do have 3 pressure users on this team. Zapdos, and then we have benched Weavile and Deoxys Speed, if you can believe that. But we just had to bring Thanos, aka Virizion. Darkrai comes in and goes for a Trick, so now our Zapdos is crippled, but the Darkrai is not Scarf anymore. And now Florges comes in, gonna go for a trick of our own actually, catches the Iron Treads, gives ourselves leftovers, and now this Treads is no longer recovering. Switch to Zapdos on the predicted Earthquake or Heavy Slam, catches the Heavy Slam perfectly. Opportunity for Static, but no such luck. Now we're gonna Roost, but we're locked into that, so no opportunity to set Light Screen. Just gonna have to go Florges on this Hydrapple. And they actually click Heavy Slam, which is obviously a great bring in to Florges. But we have Endeavor, so it brings the Hydrapple down very low, which is going to be crucial for our Virizion, aka Thanos. Now, Goldango's going to come in, goes for a Shadow Ball, catches the Okie Dokie. Does quite a lot of damage, but we're not confident we're faster quite yet. Going to go into Toxapex on the Drain Punch. Kind of wall this out. Now, Darkrai in, but we have Stockpile Toxapex, so this is going to do hard wall the Darkrai. And by hard wall, I mean take 38 from Psychic into a high roll, knock us out. So, cool stuff, right?
That was awesome.
Yeah, probably should have just recovered last turn, but it's fine. Zapdos comes in. We are Scarf now, so I can just go for a Scarf Volt Switch into the Hydro Apple, and now this is our opportunity to go into Goldango and finally get a KO, right? With a crit Dazzling Gleam, which did matter because this is AV, but who's keeping track, right?
I'm keeping track. That is a lot of hacks.
Yeah, it's fine. You're already out of the series,
To be
bro.
fair,
Yeah,
we're only in
the
the
game did-
tiebreaker
Yeah, the
because
game
of some
did not
agency
matter.
freezes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wings of Michael goes for a Heat Wave, trying to catch the Iron Shreds. Instead, going to chip the Uxie, and then we just miss a Heat Wave, so call the hacks even, right? But now Goldango's going to come in once again. Where's Thanos? Hey. He's coming, bro. He's in the back. Goldango stays in on the Heavy Slam, goes for another Shadow Ball. This Shreds is locked in, so can just recover this off as the Goldango, no problem. Just gonna sack the Treads here, but here, Fat Luigi sees an opportunity. We're gonna sack our Goldango to set up with Virizion on the Iron Treads, because Heavy Slam is base 40 power into Virizion or something like that. Now we go for a Calm Mind, and we have Vacuum
Virizion
Wave.
is that heavy?
Yeah, he's a thick boy.
Oh.
And now
Damn.
Samra is the response to Virizion. This could be Chople. We saw a lot in mocks for, like, obviously the Great Tusk. Also for Focus Blast, Deoxys and Low Kick Weavile. Pretty likely to be Chople Berry, so we do have Giga Drain. This could be Scarf with Aerial Ace, but it's actually Focus Sash, which is going to be the only set that saves him from this Virizion. Ah, so sad. So unfortunately, Fat Luigi is going to go down versus Agency. We go for a spin, knock this out, get a speed boost, but yeah, game's over. Now Uxie comes in. Wait, dies to knock off. Hold up, guys. It's fine. You still have Scarf Treads. You can get a little bit of chip here. Wait, doesn't kill. Another spin. Wait a minute. Great Michael.
My agenda.
Wait. What happened?
My agenda just disappeared in front of my eyes.
Yeah, great Michael.
Fact.
What can I say? So Agency obviously choked this endgame. To just briefly explain, you get this chip here, spin kill, sure. All you need to do is go Darkrai, right? And but what going Darkrai does is, first off, you fish to see if the Darkrai is faster than +1 Tusk, because you know it's not going to be faster than +2. So you fish for that, which our Tusk was quite slow, actually. So it could have been faster. But also what you do is, if it's close combat or headlong rush to kill, you get the defense drop, and then now the Scarf Treads will knock it out. So 2 ways to win there. But instead, we do the exact sequence that allows the second spin, and we lose. So, yeah, who's keeping track, though? All right, now we finally get to the finals. Our introduction to the stream is done, and we can get on to the main event. So the finals, and we have J-Scurf here, who's on Better Call Saul. He's the captain for them.
I believe this is not the right game. that you
No,
have.
we started with Lax and
Oh.
Black and White.
Yeah, we
Al-
started
Oh, the
Also,
doc
this
is
the
wrong.
previous
The
week.
doc is
Yeah.
wrong. I just
The
picked
doc
him
is
from
like
the doc.
super wrong.
Oh, hold on, let me get the correct replays on screen.
Yeah, I don't even think the
Oh,
doc
okay.
has the right replays and like.
No,
the
that's
right
where I got these
places
from.
They're hyperlinked. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I think I remember the game.
There we
order,
go.
though. Yeah, something like that. There you go.
Yeah. So, game 1, Black White. Bang.
I mean, both teams picked Black and White, which I think is interesting. It happened a lot this season where people flexed into the same tiers. It's pretty likely, but you know,
Yes. Thank you.
good soundboard.
Yeah. We got a big ass soundboard on this server.
Yeah, I mean, we felt pretty
Whoa,
confident
whoa.
that our old gens were strong and that we had good pilots for those, and that it would force certain players of yours like Glop and Jake to flex into those areas, potentially open up other slots. And yeah, I mean, Lax, he went to the tour wanting to play old gens, hated DPP, but he seemed to like Black and White, which is a bit faster paced, a bit more in terms of options. So we got to slot both teams. The team we're using right here, it's a bit of a matchup fish. You can look at it and kind of tell that it's got 2 dragons on it. It's a bit janky, but it felt pretty strong when we used it. So yeah.
Yeah. Low does have brain damage. You're right, Owen. So we
Also
picked
true.
black and white because we thought our matchups were strong overall in that. Especially this one, right? Garchomp into Dragon Resist Excadrill. We felt this was really strong in the builder. Curious
Yeah,
why you
there's like
picked it, really. I guess it's just because you have good
Yeah,
players.
I
in
mean,
the-
we just really like our pilots. We weren't sure that you were gonna pick it, and we really wanted a tier where we could slot Aonfa specifically.
Yeah,
So
we knew
that
you were going
was
to pick
a part
one of
it as
those, at least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we wanted
Like
to...
we figured you'd take Natdex and Oras, right? So we weren't really
Yeah.
sure what else you would take. So that's where we kind of had to like fill in the gaps with our own picks, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing we were mainly worried about was having to stretch Glop too far, right? If it was Swish plus DPP, like, because our plan was always to play Glop and DPP versus you guys.
Yep.
But if Swish is also called, then it's like a little bit rough, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's like
And
something
for
we're also
some
thinking about.
context, a few of our players were not available for finals or playoffs in general. So we're running down 2 players in this entire playoffs. If you want to read
Yeah,
between the
we were-
lines,
so
you
we
can
were
figure out
aware
who
of
they
that.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were aware of that, and there were 2 of your players you were starting in old gens,
Mhm.
at least in
Yeah.
semifinals. So we figured might as well try to capitalize on that, even if it's a little scummy.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'd do the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this matchup, we have Dragon Fang Garchomp, which is like Giga Thanos into this, because obviously the Dragon Resist dies to Earthquake. Get some really good damage. We also outspeed like the whole team besides Azelf. So, godly Garchomp matchup. Bronzong as well, really fantastic matchup. Into Double Dragon, you love to see a Bronzong on your team. Azelf as well, right? And our Zapdos, also quite good with Hidden Power Dragon. You know, hits all of the electric resists really with Heat Wave HP Dragon. I believe that's what we were. We were actually male as well to block Trick from like a lead Rotom, which we saw quite frequently. Just a lead Trick Rotom to cripple something. And then Girder. We knew Girder was coming because otherwise Weavile just 6-0s. Like, unironically. So to combat the Girder, we have like a Rocky Helmet Taunt Jellicent, which just forces it to take Helmet over and over again. And then our Hitmontop, the last mon really to talk about, is like physically defensive Rocky Helmet, just our Haxorus dedicated check. Also can spin away the rocks, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think your build like made a lot of sense. So
Mhm.
for us, it was like a pretty offensive paced, obviously. We found with Haxorus that it was very strong over the course of the season, but if you're not choice locking it, it certainly felt a lot worse, especially into like a Weavile and a Garchomp. That felt hard to navigate.
Mhm.
So we would just choice Scarf as sort of a cleaner and a bit of a breaker. Gyurem was an interesting set. It was pretty close to like max Spadef with Substitute, with the goal of like subbing on Zapdos, Jellicent, stuff like that, and then forcing progress that way, potentially PP stalling Bronzong, which was obviously quite annoying. But otherwise, our stats were fairly standard. Like the Girder was like bulk up, rest, payback, Drain Punch, which was another win con, but mainly a Weavile check. And like Rotom just kind of fat, Resto Chesto to check a few things. Azelf was also fat, which I don't think was as expected, considering it was like our best speed option. But we were really struggling with Garchomp, so like a Fizdef Helmet Azelf we found often helping. And then Drill was, you know, pretty standard as well. Like it's our steel type in this gen, so they kind of resist everything, and we just ran a fat toxic set.
Yeah, interesting thing about your like PP stall Bronzong idea. We ran into that in mocks quite a lot. So our Bronzong is actually extra sensory, which has 48 PP.
Yeah, we saw that. So those
Yeah.
wouldn't have like broken sub, but it would be annoying because we can't like force you
Well,
to struggle or anything
we also
like
have
that.
Calm
We might run out
Mind.
of PP.
We also have Calm
Right.
Mind, so it would
Right,
1v1
so
the
that would
Kyurem.
help. Yeah, for sure. With Calm Mind, yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, I think we can watch the game at this point.
Yeah. So Zapdos going to lead off into the Rotom Wash. Go for a T-Bolt.
Yeah.
This is like a pretty offensive Zap, and we dodge Will-O-Wisp, which is pretty nice. Without Kyurem,
Yeah,
can't just kind of come in.
75% Wisp really sucks.
It's
That's the
really
other
bad.
thing.
And then we crit Para the Kyurem, so good start,
Quite
all things
fortunate.
considered.
I mean, getting Toxic on Kyurem was really bad. Like, normally Paralysis wouldn't be horrible, but turn 3 like that, it's obviously quite a bit worse.
Yeah.
But go forward.
Then Volt switches on the
Yeah,
Zapdos, and we're watching this like, oh my god, we just won the game. Like, because now Garchomp gets an entry point, and we can just click Dragon Claw, and it's like really hard for Lax to deal with this. He's gonna go
Yeah, we're
hard
in VC
Azov.
like we lost the game.
Yeah,
basically.
basically.
Yeah, opposite ends.
So Dragonclaw actually does less than half to this Azov, which is really surprising considering the fact that we're a Dragon Fang Garchomp. That's like a pretty strong attack. But
Yeah,
okay.
we couldn't tell if it was banded or not yet, but I think
Here?
we thought it was, so we stayed in.
We
Yeah.
had a Draco Meteor on the Chomp as well, so like, yeah,
I
it
think
would have
we
been.
could've played here, no?
Yeah, we
I
could have
don't know the
Dracoed and just
exact
knocked this out. You need to know if the
Yeah,
Azov
you
was
certainly
creeping Chomp.
could've.
Yeah. But like
It was
also
creeping
HP
Chomp,
Ice
but it
is
was
like
HP
crazy there.
Ice. Yeah, like HP Ice feels like a really bad click. and
Into
we
Weavile
revealed
and then you
all
get
three.
trapped. Like that's just
Yeah.
ticks.
Like we need our value of rocks, and we're
Yeah.
helmet, so like you can pretty much assume this is the rocker.
Oh.
So
Jake in
Okay.
the chat is asking if Azelf was creeping Chomp speed.
it
If you know
was,
Jason.
yeah,
It was, okay.
It was
Oh,
creeping
it was.
Chomp, and then otherwise it was Fizz Def.
That
There's,
does make
like,
the
no
Chomp play
special
harder
attack.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now Drill's gonna come in on the Volt Switch, but we do have Heat Wave, so it's probably gonna be a pivot out. No, we actually just take the Heat Wave in exchange for a Toxic, which fair enough, right? This is gonna be lefty's Protect, so the Drill will eventually get healthy. But now we're gonna use this Protect opportunity to get in Garchomp, and now
Yeah, that felt very threatening.
yeah, now we Draco Meteor, and Lax protects to scout and get a little bit of leftovers. Protect could potentially scout into like a Choice Scarf Garchomp, because while we are Dragon Fang, we're not max attack, so it could have been an ambiguous role on the Azelf, we're not sure. But like, he might
Yeah,
not
it looked
have
like
information.
a lot to us, so I'm not sure what Lax thought, but I'm guessing based on that info, he didn't really think it was SD anymore.
Yeah,
So he felt kind of safe to protect, but it was still like a bit sketchy.
it probably to him looked like Adamant Scarf, right?
Yep.
With the damage on Azelf, which is about right. But I was gonna say, like, if we just Earthquake on the Protect and then Draco Meteor on the switch to Azelf, which is surely coming, it would have been so
Yeah.
strong. But instead we Draco Meteor, which, like, same thing, you reveal kind of that you're not Scarf Garchomp by doing this, and then the Azelf's gonna come in. But unfortunately he clicks Earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could go Azelf or sack Rotom there, I think, pretty reasonably, because I guess you guys
Yeah.
don't know, we're Resto Chesto, so it would look like a Rotom sack for sure, so
Mhm.
Claw felt pretty safe, or Draco.
Yeah, I
guess,
think
felt a
Draco
bit
is
less
just
safe,
the
but still
move.
fine. Yeah, I agree.
You also, like, desperately need your Excadrill for what it's worth, so, like, sacking it feels
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
We just go Jellicent on the HP Ice. We do have Shadow Ball to force this out, but Kyurem is like very Spadef, so
Yeah, I
Booyah.
can't take 16.
yeah.
So. This is really good prep, though. I really like Taunt, because that also shuts down like a Roost or a Sub there, or even a Toxic.
Yeah, it was
so that
mostly
like,
for the
crappy.
bulk up girder, to be honest.
Yeah, I figured, but like if
Mhm.
you get the para, I mean, it worked out nicely, as you can see here.
Yeah, for sure. Now we go to Bronzong on the next turn, trying to get rocks up on this Kyurem, looks like. But the problem with that is Drill can always just spin, right? But also, even worse, Rotom can come in and either Pain Split or Rest to Full. We're going to see the worst of the two options for us. Rest back to full. And so in before rocks, Lax gets an entire Rotom out of it, and that is tough for Jake. Goes for
Yeah,
a
I think
Roost
that was
here.
just a really good play from Lax, like, because it covers Steel Move, it covers Rocks, and then we can get our Rotom back at least, make up for the early game.
Oh, we actually did take off HP Dragon. We had that initially early in the week, but looks like we don't have it. But either way, now Kyurem can come in and get a Roost off, it looks like, on this Volt Switch.
Yeah, that was kind of the play here.
And on that Roost, we're going to get Weavile turn in. So a low kick is
Yeah,
being threatened
threats
here.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanos has hit the field, but there is Girder. There's also Rotom Wash, so. And unfortunately, we click a low kick into the Rotom, like worst click possible. Now, we did have Beat Up on this Weavile, which Zapdos is toxic, but everything else is not. So it would have been about an 80 base power move into this Rotom. But alas.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so you reveal your life orbs, so we're just kind of hoping you'll wear yourself down at this point with, like, the
Yeah.
Weavile set.
Bronzong comes in on the Wisp. We're going to absorb that and a Volt Switch. But this is now the spin opportunity for Drill. It's really hard to go Jellicent at 63 on a Drill like this. Especially when Earthquake is also a pretty free click. So spin does feel pretty likely.
Yeah, because, like, killing Bronzong's a huge priority for, like, Haxorus, for example, anyways, so there's, like, just too many mind games there.
I mean,
think this
Zong's
is
also
Wiles,
basically
good
dead.
play.
Here, protect on Heat Wave so we don't get the roost off.
Yeah.
And then a switch to Garchomp trying to get something happening. But unfortunately, this is like the wrong turn to go Garchomp because, well, he did catch the Kyurem as intended. The problem is Kyurem lives any hit from full. So
Yeah, that info's probably available based on like the
it is
earlier
based on the
Shadow
calcs,
Ball
yeah.
Volt. Yeah, stuff like that.
So while you do get big chip on this Kyurem, it's at the cost of your best Pokemon, which definitely doesn't feel worth it.
Yeah, and Chomp was what was like screwing us in Mox, like giving us
Yeah,
a really
for sure,
hard
yeah.
time. So we'll happily trade Kyurem for that.
Now Azelf in
That
on the
was, like,
close
always
combat, and so basically Lax, after getting hacked like the first 4 turns into a really bad position, has now gotten every turn right for like the next 20 turns consecutively. Here, finally, Jake gets
We
a play,
finally got him.
Sucker Punch into Azelf, but I mean Azelf is dead for the Garchomp, but the Garchomp's also dead, so potentially $1 short and a day late. Now Haxorus can come in, forces a KO by clicking Outrage. Bronzong is going to go down to that. Now Hitmontop can come in, get the Intimidate off, which is going to allow us to at least spin.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty big for Zap and Weavile. It's just like a
It is.
question of if it's too late and like
Yeah.
if Jealous and some sort of stall win con can really work at this point.
So a 3-turn Outrage is going to knock us out. And now Jellicent can go for the Recover, get back up healthy. But Rotom is going to come in and Wisp our Jellicent, which kind of sucks. But where are you supposed to go to, right?
Yeah, it's tough at this point, but honestly, breaking the Jellicent's like a bit harder than it looks for us.
It is,
because
for
it's
sure.
like a very Fizdef set.
Yeah, and with the burn, you can't Toxic it anymore with Drill. Right, so maybe the Wisp was like short-sighted. Maybe prefer to just Volt into Drill and go for a Toxic, which feels a little bit better, I think. But either way,
Yeah.
like recovering
I
with
guess
Gen
you can
5
fear
burn.
like getting scalded, but like otherwise, a Toxic would certainly be a more reliable way of wearing Jellicent down. Like we obviously outspeed with our Drill, so.
And here,
That would be, like,
Protect
pretty good
scouts
to
the
go
last
for.
move, and now Drill knows it can always sub on this Jellicent. Chooses not to, I'm really curious why.
Drill wasn't sub. It was EQ spin.
Oh, no, I thought you were
Toxic.
saying it
Oh.
earlier.
Oh,
No, you were
yeah,
talking
no,
about
we were scared
Kyurem.
of like coming on Scald. Yeah, Kyurem could sub on this guy
Yeah.
usually. Yeah.
So Kyurem in on the Recover, which Shadow Ball will not kill, but we get a crit, so can't stop getting lucky and still in a bad position. Now Haxorus comes in. We're going to fish for the Cursed Body with a Recover here. And a little bit of Rocky Helmet Chip as well. Doesn't hurt, but doesn't get it. Fun fact, by the way, if you get Cursed Bodied on Outrage, the second turn fails. Like you just don't get to attack.
Ooh. That's
So it's a
crazy.
dead
I
turn
don't
for
think we
you.
ever saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be definitely a bit worse for sure. Because we were a bit confused at the time, but then we realized, yeah, it's Curse Body. Like that's kind of one of your main outs here.
Yeah. In Gen 5 draft, I assume dragons are pretty nuts. Yeah. I mean, that's like the main criticism I have for the format, where it's like, it just feels so strong. Like all of these dragon types. Like Garchomp was Thanos. Like I think Jake misplayed around it, and that's why it wasn't just killing 6 here. But obviously, Kyurem plus Haxorus, really strong guys. Here we go for some confusion hacks, I guess. And then another confusion hit, so Jake just can't stop lucking Lax. But still, Drill comes in, protects on the Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah, this is where it's just like a million kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
It's hard to say like when it's gonna matter, when it's not, but we're just trying to wear down Jealous and get turns right. And like ultimately we're like relatively confident we could win with Girder with the combination of like rest, payback, drain punch, but it's kind of tough because the helmet and the taunt are really annoying.
Yeah. I think another thing to look at is like the Rotom clicking Volt Switch on Jellicent is always just gonna Thanos snap a Recover PP. So like I think at the end of the day we're gonna run out of recovers before anything happens. And then we missed the Wisp at the end, but like it didn't matter. The burned Earthquake would have killed anyways. Finally, the Cursed Body last turn.
That very much. Yeah, the Cursed Body comes
Yeah.
in.
But the Girder's able to come
By
in
the way.
and knocks out our Weavile.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the game. Crazy one to start out with, but Lact comes out on top, so Better Call Stall up 1-0 in the grand finals.
mean, yeah, former DCL teammates, like, it was a really cool matchup. We looked really good players, so it was a fun one to watch.
Awesome, yeah.
Good soundboard, guys. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Although QP joins calls with me, he just spams this now. It's actually, it's really something.
There's some really good ones in here.
I literally haven't clicked a single one because last time I demonetized him. Now I'm literally
No, you
muted.
didn't. You didn't
can't use the
actually.
soundboard.
You did. It was a joke. It was a joke.
The Pirates one, Owen, was not me. I saw Owen in chat.
It's a joke,
Do
by
not
the way.
blame
The copyright system
It
doesn't
was-
pick up on like 5-second clips,
Oh,
so
that
feel
one's-
free to spam them. I don't care. Plus, like, I don't get that much from
Fair
these.
moments.
It's fine.
Dracarys. Don't do that again.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, now game 2, we have Sun and Moon. We have Owen Galbina versus High Jump Kick High Jump. So Theodore Manny versus Owen. And this is a matchup where we knew you were guys going to pick this team because, like, this is your undefeated team and your other one's like 1-4. So
Yeah, it's like
I mean,
polar
do the
opposites.
math,
This team was
right?
like 5-0, the other one's
yeah.
like 1-4.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So we were looking at this like, okay, you guys picked Sun and Moon. You're very confident in this team. We're going to pick the team that is better matched up into it. And our better matchup was obviously just locking Zard Y into stall. Like, that's not a hard decision to make. So, yeah, we just loaded up with Zard Y, Kartana, you know, all the strong guys. Suicune and
And it
Yukon.
was funny because Theo wasn't scared about Zard at all. But
Is he
everyone
stupid?
else on the team, everyone else
That
on the
was
team was
Thanos.
like, Zard destroys us. Everyone else
Yeah.
was like, this is like threat number 1. Like, this is what we have to prep around. And Theo was like, it's fine. It doesn't look that good here. And
Yeah.
we're like, okay, we'll
sure.
see.
There's a lot of yos. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if
So
we look at our
LRC.
prep,
Basically,
had,
the situation is, in this format, it's 2 SV slots, and then you get to pick 3 tiers out of, you know, Swish, Usum, Oras, Black, White, DPP, and Nat decks. So each team picks 3 of them that they want to play in the series, and then you get a best of 8 out of that. So going into this, they picked Usum. So then we're like, okay, we need to bring one of our Usum teams, and this part is double blind, right? So it's revealed afterwards, but we know they're going to bring their good team rather than their bad team, right? So we know we're going to play in this team. We're going to bring our Sun team.
yeah, and this team was good for you guys. Like, I liked your Sun team. I thought it was pretty cool. So
Yeah, this one was super fun to prep with all season. But okay, so prep-wise, our Zard was like Thanos the entire week of mocks with many different sets. Glop was like begging us to use Fire Spin Zard, like straight begging, like on his knees.
I don't know about all that.
Right?
But
But obviously didn't make it onto the final paste. But we were testing stuff like Swords Dance 3 attacks plus Healing Wish Lilligant. That was really Thanos, right? Initially we had like some special sets with like Dragon Pulse, Modest, 2-hit KOing, some Lottie spreads, but then obviously Lottie can just run Max Spadef and kind of wall. Or just run Calm Mind, right? And
Also
1v1 it.
like that.
But it doesn't really get anything for like a Dragon Dance or Swords Dance Zard, and we ended up landing on Dragon Dance, Roost, Flare Blitz, and Crunch. The idea being, if Suicune comes, which we thought Suicune was the most likely bench, we thought Clefable would be here over it. Obviously there's a Hydreigon, and you're gonna see Hydreigon's gonna be a little bit of a problem for you guys in the game because of the Clefable bench, but we thought Suicune was the most likely bench, so dropping the Thunder Punch for Roost on Charizard felt really strong because the main reason Charizard wasn't just 6-0ing was because it's running out of HP from recoil. Like, Flare Blitz is so strong. For reference, Charizard Flare Blitz is the exact same power as Choice Banded Infernape with that Flare Blitz click. So it's a pretty strong guy. Next up we have Coco, which is going to be Z flying Brave Bird because they don't have a flying resist outside of Electabuzz, which we knew wasn't coming. And then our other moves are Nature's Madness, Wild Charge, and Roost for the same reason, right? Coco running out of HP is kind of annoying because we have recoil moves on these guys. And in a longer game, we want to have that recovery.
For another reference, Charizard Mega Y in Sun is only 10% less strong than Zardex.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Flare
yeah,
Blitz
I mean-
specifically. All the other
With
moves are
Flare Blitz
weaker. Yeah.
was-
But okay, now Lilligant here is going to be Meadow Plate, Energy Ball, Chlorophyll with Healing Wish, Aromatherapy, and Encore. So a really strong grass move and then a lot of utility, right? So one way that they can get around the Zard is with Toxic, right? So having Aromatherapy to remove that, pretty useful, right? Actually, no, we don't have Aromatherapy. Was it? No. Do we or not? We changed it like a bunch of times, but I know it has Stun Spore. And if I count all the moves I said plus Stun Spore, that's 5
Healing Wish, I
moves.
think.
Yeah, it is Healing Wish. Healing Wish, Stun Spore, Energy Ball, and is the last one Encore or Aroma? I think it was Aroma, right? But either way, you heal off the
I don't think
toxics.
it gets revealed anyways.
Well,
yeah.
here, let's just open his paste. It was
It's Encore.
Encore.
Okay, yeah. So we have Encore. This is to because our Zard is a little bit weaker into Suicune, right? We don't have Thunder Punch anymore. We have Encore and Lilligant to guard against like Calm Mind Suicune, basically. But not like that's a huge problem when we have like Lilligant plus Kartana, which Kartana is going to be Adamant Choice Banded, like the strongest Kartana possible into this. And what this allows us to do is lure in the Scizor, knock it off, force a Roost, and that's our Zard opportunity, right? So it's a way of like generating the Zard versus Scizor turns, and also like if the Scizor ever goes down, like if they just U-turn trying to catch the Yard, well now Kartana just 2 KOs or OHKOs the entire team. So you know, either way, we're happy. The Hippowdon is Earth Plate with Substitute, so you can sub on a Mega Sableye. We're EV'd for pretty much all Mega Sableye hits, including Nightshade. And then Earth Plate, Earthquake plus Stone Edge kind of kills everything as long as the Lottie is sacked to the Charizard, which was happening in every single mock, right? There's no safe pivot once the Zard clicks the Dragon Dance in front of the Lottie. You kind of just have to attack it and, you know, sack something. So Hippowdon in the end games was always pretty strong. And then our Hydreigon is here as the dedicated defogger support for Zard, because obviously with Zard being Thanos, we need a defogger that beats the Rocker. So Hydreigon with Roost and Defog is able to come in on Nidoqueen for a very long time and just defog away the rocks, as that's the only Rocker on their team. And also with Clefable being benched, the fact that we're like mono Dark Pulse, not even that bad, right? There's no resist. Hydreigon's pretty strong. And our last move, I believe, was T-Wave. Another supporting piece to slow things down for our Cart and our Zard and everything. You want to go on to your side?
Yeah, so I feel like on a weekly basis, the prep I was like least involved with was probably Theo's, just because he preps in such a specific way where, yes, sometimes he'll bring the offensive mode, but for the most part, he's bringing what people call stall. Like, it's like a bulky balance usually. It's like a very fat style. And something I learned this season is it's just a completely different approach to the game. Like, you ask Theo, how do you win a Pokemon game? And he says you win by not taking as much damage as the other team and by recovering off more than they can deal, which is like so crazy to me, but it works for him. So our yard plan, which was kind of just rock move on everyone, was like generally working fine. But yeah, we had like Stone Edge on our Nidoqueen, which was kind of just a bulky Coco check with Pinchberry. We had like a Spadef Sableye, and a lot of that was also for the Starmie, which you didn't bring. And we assumed you'd defog, but like just in case you brought it, it is good spin blocker here. And it was a pretty standard type of set. Scizor was just like, you know, Fizdef helmet, like card check, you know, that sort of thing, like pretty standard as well. Torn was AV, so it was HP Rock, like Heat Wave, U-turn Sludge Bomb. So it was like max Spadef AV pretty much too, with like Timid. So it was largely designed to kind of trade down with the like Charizard or at least weaken it. Latios was a Ghost DMZ set, just like 3 attacks Roost, which, you know, another thing, it's like ideally it'll take a hit from Zard, deal big damage, but it also looks pretty strong in this matchup.
It does.
You know, things like, well, pretty much everything else it looks relatively strong into. And then Suicune was actually what we were having the most success with all week in testing. It was Max Modest Choice Scarf with Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Surf, HP Rock. So a lot of it was to surprise the Charizard as well. But there's also just quite a few end games in which Ice Beam becomes really, really strong into you guys. You don't have like a great ice resist. It's kind of just the Starmie, which we weren't even sure you'd bring. But like Surf Shadow Ball, they also look pretty good, especially, you know, if like Sun isn't up and then Shadow Ball can snipe the Starmie. So we were finding a lot of times this weekend could get like a surprise kill early and then act as like a pretty good revenge killer. But for the most part, like Theo wasn't that worried about Charizard, and we tested against like pretty much all the sets you said because it did look so strong here, at least to like me. But yeah, it's a pretty decent matchup for you guys. I would say like you slotted well for sure, knowing we bring this team.
It wasn't a difficult decision, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't think so. I mean, we got
basically,
matchups out really quick.
The night before the game, I had a little dinner date with Owen, and we went over like this matchup in like really big detail. And so we built a team from Theo's perspective, like, and I was like kind of guiding him because I've teamed with Theo multiple times in the past, so I kind of know how he builds. And we actually predicted 5 sets exactly right. Obviously not the Suicune, but the other 5 sets, bar for bar, like we had in the builder and we mocked against. So that's pretty cool.
That doesn't surprise me that much.
It's also
there's usually a surprise or two, but for the most part, it's just like you have to outplay Theo.
Yeah, like Theo preps in a very specific way. Like you were saying, he looks at the game completely different from anyone else, and I kind of like have seen him build so often that I know that he's not going to accept anything less than an Ayapapa Nidoqueen as the Coco check. He's not going to accept anything less than the Max Defense Helmet Scizor as the Cardano check. You know, he's going to have the Spin Block Sableye. He's going to have the AV Torn and the Ghostium Latios, a little bit of offensive pressure, you know, because the rest of them are pretty passive. We need something to do damage. He always has something to do damage. And then the Suicune, right? We thought this was going to be a Clefable, but yeah, there's always something with Theo that you just can't predict. And this week it was the Suicune, right? He's always done these like surprise Scarfers. So seeing another one here. Let's get into the game.
His teams, they never have traditional Scarfers really, like just looking at the draft even. Like it's really just Latios, so
yeah.
You kind of have to, and like Scizor, I guess, but yeah.
So we get the Coco into Torn lead. A really strong, allows us to just go for a free Nature's Madness. Theo never risks this. He's just going to go Nidoqueen. Does exactly 50, so you know this Nidoqueen is EV'd for the Pinch Berry off of Z Nature's Madness, as he should be. But now, what Owen can do is just rip the Z immediately. There's no flying resist, so this is guaranteed value no matter what. Get some chip on Torn, but now the whole set's been revealed. We know that the Nidoqueen is going to come in here, so a really strong double to Charizard. And now this Nidoqueen, you still need this for the Coco, right? It's not like you can sack this. So this is our perfect setup opportunity, because we know Latios is going to come in. Early game, Theo never really like risks anything, so we were pretty confident in the sequence. Go for the Dragon Dance as Lottie comes in, the obvious counter. But now, with Crunch able to do so much damage, by the way, and Psychic doing basically nothing, now Flare Blitz is a forced KO. Like, Suicune can't switch in.
Yeah, it really can't. And like, this is what Theo was talking about after the game when he was like, things that like I could have done differently, like without talking about the result, because we kind of just go over that for every game, and he was just like, yeah, I should have ripped Z or probably like Draco'd here.
Well, even if you rip Z, we have Roost on the Zard. Like, it's not like we're gonna die.
No, definitely not. Like, Charizard's just so, you know, threatening here.
Yeah. Now Suicune comes in, we go Lilligant, catches the HP Rock or the Water move. We kind of expected HP Rock AV if it did come, as like you live the Solar Beams and you kill it back. Obviously, this reveals Max Modest, so even more of a reason to think that it's AV Suicune, right? But Lilligant comes in, and now we hit the Stun Spore on the Torn, so now the entire team is slower than Kartana, at least in theory, right? We don't know the Suicune Scarf yet. Everything's slower than everything's slower than Yard. This is like a really big deal, this Stun Spore.
Yeah, that was cool tech, because I think we only mocked Lilligant like once or twice maybe, so it's kind of hard to know what to expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that caught Torn pretty well.
Yeah. Now Coco comes in on the Torn, and now this para means that I would assume that was a U-turn coming out.
Yeah.
But now Nidoqueen can come in anyways, catches the Nature's Madness and gets the Ayapapa. Not the end of the world for Theo. And now Hydreigon comes in, our dedicated answer to the rocks. Can just go for a defog as AV Torn comes in, like obviously safe scouting play from Theo. Now back into the Coco. But they U-turn
that
this
halted
time
a
into
lot of
Nidoqueen.
progress, keeping the rocks off.
So this loop, like, we don't really get anything out of it. Now finally a Toxic is clicked, so Theo is going to start to get a little bit of progress out of these sequences. Right, Torn, U-turn, Hydreigon. The problem is you are parried, so each repeat of the sequence is like 75% chance to happen. But now that the Toxic is up, it's like...
It's a bit more favorable at least.
Here Theo breaks the sequence. I'm not really sure why. I don't know why we went Scizor on the Hydreigon. I guess it's the same reason, like you can just U-turn, but this allows our Zard to come in. And Zard coming in is like a big deal. I think at that point it was
a Scarf bluff, to be honest, to like try to get us some momentum.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
Now we have this matchup, and he kind of just overpredicts, which is...
Yeah.
Imagine like we revealed HP Rock, so you never really expect the Charizard to stay in, so...
Yeah, with the Roost...
kind of makes a heads-up play.
Yeah, the Roost does remove your flying type, so HP Rock wouldn't have done anything, but now he knows it's Scarf. Like, this is the big reveal.
Yeah, he didn't know it was Scarf earlier because he DD'd, so that's also part of it.
So Theo,
totally reasonable. Otherwise.
Theo playing into his opponent knowing his set when there's just no way, right?
Yeah.
This is something that I call like the Venno theory of like, I didn't click my tech because I thought they would expect my tech, you know? That's something Venno used to do like way back in the day, and it's just stuck with me. Obviously he's retired now, but
yeah, because you had DD'd earlier when we tried something like that. Yeah, that is crazy.
Okay, people might say that's crazy, but that Flare Blitz is free as shit.
That's killing something, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that swear word, but because we can click Ice Beam and it's
Scarf, it revealed Scarf, yeah.
It can't really stay in forever, so boom.
No, the Flare Blitz click was completely like correct and pretty much just expected. But like just OHKOing a Sableye like that is tough because like it's Spadef, so you know it's not gonna live. It's not Mega'd yet, so it puts us in a bad spot.
This is one of those turns where it's like, and the crowd goes wild, you know?
Yeah.
the VC on that turn was so good. But now Nidoqueen comes in with the defensive investment. They're gonna live the Flare Blitz, so just kidding. We're adamant. Now Suicune can come in.
Yeah, see, that's the issue, because now with Suicune it's all 50-50s, because the Scarf still hadn't been revealed, now it is, so it was harder to go into that.
And now with the Nidoqueen dead, our Hydreigon is homeless, right? So no real need to keep it. Can just sack that. Now we go into Tapu Koko, which will live a Scarf Ice Beam no matter what, and there's no electric resist. I'm gonna click into the Scizor. Why did that do so much? The hell? This is not Rocky Helmet.
Oh, maybe he changed it.
Maybe he changed it to Scarf.
I'm looking at his most recent paste. Yeah. It used to be max, but I mean, doing that, it would do 60 without crits. So I'm guessing he did just make it more offensive pregame.
Yeah. This looks like the classic Theo surprise Scarf Scizor.
Yeah, double surprise Scarf, but you know it doesn't.
Goes for a bullet punch on our Kartana, but at this point, it's pretty simple to just click Smart Strike into the Torn.
Yeah.
And then Suicune taking this hit, I mean, it's gonna do a lot of damage, right? 33 from a resisted hit. Now we can just sack Hippowdon to the Ice Beams.
Yeah, I mean, this matchup is making Suicune look a lot stronger than it is somehow. But, like, it's, you know, you're so up in sacks that it's just...
Yeah, he has, like, safe options, so he's going to go for him, basically.
Yeah, there's no reason to take any risks, anything like that.
Now gets the Roost off with Koko, and that's, like, the nail in the coffin, right? So now Wild Charge kills this. Thanks. Scizor in, but...
It was a good Roost. That just kind of locks it in, basically.
Yeah.
Scarf Scizor obviously doesn't outspeed Koko.
And now, like, all you need to do is set up the Drought for the Chlorophyll Lilligant, and also, like, Kartana would live as well from this range.
Yeah.
Bang!
I do assume so.
And
so that was cool.
Thanos.
Definitely not what we were expecting, anyways.
How's appeal to Lilligant? Glop Girl, Hippowdon. Our nicknames all season have been so funny.
I can tell who's been naming them.
Yeah. All right. Oh, hey, Thanos. So Wyatt's actually in call, so we can get some more insight on his clicks here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So obviously I've been
Do you
working
want
with
to go
Wyatt
over our
all,
side of the prep?
all
'Cause
season.
you...
Yeah, we worked on it together. So basically,
Yeah.
for the longest time, we had lead Lum Dragonite with Dragon Dance, Dragonfire Roost coverage, max Spadef, basically. And what this does is it sets up on HP Ice Zapdos and basically forces the Ice Shard Revenge. And some people were benching Sneasel and they just got lead 6-0'd. Like, I'm not joking. That happened like multiple times. But so that was our set for a long time. But eventually we're like, it's so likely that there's like a Sneasel, or like they're leading with Ice Punch Gallade or something like that. Or, by the way, benched Mega Gallade. Let that sink in.
I think we've had 6 Mega Gallade games all season and brought it once.
That's on you, bro. It's pretty good here. We
Well,
were happy to see it benched.
When we talk about our prep, I'll get into that.
Sure. But
Yeah,
our
from my
Dragonite,
POV, when I saw no Mega Gallade, I was really happy. Like, it was.
he literally
causing a bit
started
of
jumping
trouble.
for joy. I saw him.
I'm not completely surprised by that, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. So our D Knight lead, it was like maybe 40%, no, like 30% of games just lead 6-0ing, unironically. Maybe 30 is a big number, but it was doing that multiple times. Most of the time it was like 2-for-1 trading, to be honest, or being forced out immediately. So we were getting forced out more than we wanted to, so we decided to swap up to a mid-game Dragonite, with the trigger being Zong in, so you get it in before rocks, because Zong is obviously going to be the rocker here. So in before rocks, and then you can just start blasting, because Lum blocks the toxic Bronzong that we expected. And then you just really start getting things going. We're EV'd for Scarf Chomp at +2, so getting that second DD up, really scary in the mid game, especially with E-Speed over Roost, which we did make that change. So Sneasel can't really check us with rocks up, for example, if we get +2. So that was the idea. Then we have Dookie the Cofagrigus, just max defense, Colbur, Rest Talk, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, just kind of beats the entire team, low-key. Like, this is literally Thanos.
Yeah, like in mocks, what was happening a lot of the time is that like it would have to interact with the Gallade, and like Gallade could like kind of trade with it with like SD knockoff, and then like next time it probably kills, stuff like that. So like here where there's no Mega Gallade, like now it can kind of check like half the team instead of just like only checking Mega Gallade, which is really nice.
Yeah, so Gallade weakening this for stuff like the Scizor, for the Garchomp, is something we were like the most worried about. But no Gallade, we're like, this is awesome. By the way, the Weavile is choice banded because the Dark Resist is Scizor. Which you're going to see actually ends up being a pretty good Dark Resist, but regardless, banded Weavile, pretty strong here. We had some interesting tech moves, right? We had Foul Play for like a Swords Dance Mega Gallade. It just Okos. It even Okos like offensive Gallade with no Swords Dance. So
yeah, I would say it was more for the bulk up sets too as well.
Yeah.
'Cause, like it's kind of the only thing that gets through bulk up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also had Punishment, because we did see some like Iron Defense Bronzongs that were hard to break. So Punishment allows us to get that like, 100 base power or even like 140 base power move into an Iron Defense Zong. And, especially considering our Lando is physical, having a big button into that is pretty useful to have, especially considering knock off an Ice Shard is kind of all you need for the rest of the team. Yes, Punishment. Then our Diancie, interesting enough, is like basically max defense, right?
Yeah.
Did you
Max was def with like a tiny bit of speed.
Yeah, we have a little bit of speed. The speed is for the benched Trevenant, I believe, because base Diancie is base 50 speed, and Trevenant is base 56, so we outsped like a slow Trevenant, pre-mega. Because obviously Aura has speed mechanics, and we're actually not carrying Protect on this. Because we're so slow, we're not really going to outspeed anything anyways, and this is the main Sneasel check on the team. So being able to tank hits and then just, in the base form, which is way bulkier, set up rocks and all that, was pretty useful. This was like dual stab HP fire rocks, I believe. We had Heal Bell for a while to Heal Bell our Rest Cofagrigus, but ended up taking it off for HP Fire just to give one less thing for Scizor to set up on, because late game Scizor with Sword Stance, like Life Orb sets, were usually the scariest thing. That and Scarf Garchomp, like hard to guard against both of them in the end games. But yeah, this is our best chance at doing so. We also like live a Bullet Punch in as DNC because we're so defensive, which is kind of crazy.
Scarf, like we live a non-boosted EQ as well from Chomp, which is really nice.
Yeah, the defense ended up coming into coming into effect very often. Then our Landorus is going to be lead rocks, so we're actually double rocks here. This is mainly to chip down the Sneasel and Zapdos, obviously. Both of them pretty scary, hard to break down. Well, Sneasel's not hard to kill, but Zapdos with no rocks up is kind of hard for us. So lead rocks, we're Focus Sash, just guarantee the rocks up. And so basically our plan with Lando is to stay in versus everything that's not Sneasel. And versus Sneasel, we go DNC and we rock up with that instead. So either way, at minimum, we're getting rocks up turn 2, no matter what. Then we also have the spin block opportunity versus Tentacruel, so these rocks going to be pretty valuable. This is physical Landorus, so Earthquake, Knockoff, and Rock Slide for the Zapdos. Pretty strong stuff. It's Adamant, creeping our D-Knight, I believe.
Yeah.
By like a little bit extra as well, in case they wanted to cover for that, you know? Well, speed creep of the speed creep of the speed creep.
Yeah.
But then our Starmie is, we actually changed this last minute to Scarf.
Literally last minute.
Yeah,
like
for the
5
whole
minutes
week,
before the game.
we were basically Culberberry, but a lot of times this wasn't even coming into effect. Like, once we take a little bit chip, we're dying to Sneasel anyways, and then Scarf Chomp was being such an issue that we're like, okay, let's just put Scarf Ice Beam on this Starmie, and it'll be fine. We're not usually staying in and clicking multiple moves with Starmie anyways, so it felt like a pretty reasonable change. And yeah, that's our team.
Yeah, as somewhat of an ORS like veteran, I agree with that, because the Culver Sneasel, it's still a speed tie. There's still a lot of factors, and
it's not a speed tie because we're HP Fire.
Right, so even worse. Yeah, so I like Scarf usually as well in that matchup. So for us, you have to pay attention to who the pilot is. It's 12 QSD. So if you know, you know, but he's gonna be looking to bring crazy techs. He's gonna be prioritizing bringing the low tiers. That's just kind of how he rolls. So when we started off prep, Garchomp was benched because it's like kind of a tougher matchup between Weavile, like Cofagrigus, like Diancie, D-Nut, whatever. Like it's certainly not the best Garchomp matchup. And the Mega Gallade that we were testing, which he came up with on Monday, was Imprison, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp. And that's pretty much the only Mega Gallade we tried, because like he has his ideas, and some of them are bangers, and some of it, like if it doesn't work, we just move on to something else. So we tried that, and there was varying success with it. But
what's really funny is like we actually tested into that exact set, because like at some point I was just looking through Gallade's moves, because I was like, okay, both teams know Cofagrigus and Gallade are going to interact with each other, so like literally what is even possible for them to do other than like, you know, knock off and stuff. And I was like,
really
wait,
scared of so many sets that you could run, but they all have very common moves.
Yeah, and then so it's like, he kind of has all my moves and could just run Imprison. So we made sure that Sleep Talk like doesn't get Imprisoned, because we weren't sure. And so then like once we realized it doesn't get Imprisoned, like
you can just Sleep
safe,
Talk
right?
a Wisp or a Shadow Ball. There's no problem.
We had another very similar situation I'll talk about in a future game. But yeah, so we were trying that, and then when we ran into more of the Rest Talk sets, we were like, well, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah,
anymore.
it just doesn't work. Yeah.
And then we were having trouble revenging stuff, you know, things like that, especially D-Knight. So Scarf Chomp made on the pace, which was much more consistent. But Sneasel was pretty much always our lead. Choice Band Sneasel like forces a lot of progress immediately, and there's not like a ton of things that necessarily kill it right away, or that it can't kill first. So it felt like a pretty solid lead here. Bronzong was a more passive set, but then we opted to go more of like an offensive toxic, like 3 attack sort of thing, or Rocks toxic 2 attack sort of thing, which was doing pretty well into most like Diancies, and then helping with some other mons as well. Scizor, it's always an issue with the Scizor versus Weavile, where Scizor is the check, especially if rocks go up, that like Knock or some of the stronger moves can cause like a problem for the Scizor. So we went itemless actually to avoid you getting the damage boost, since that like 16% never felt that impactful. And since you have such a good spin blocker, we were able to fit defog on like a defensive set easier, which was also pretty strong. But our Tentacruel was a pretty cool set. It was substitute 3 attacks for a lot of the week, but once we stopped seeing Ferrothorns in Mox, we kind of shifted it a little bit, and it became Haze 3 attacks and the main Cophagrigus check. So what the idea was we could Scald and Fish for Burn, and if we got that, we could Hex you and do a lot of damage, but also if you rested,
cool.
we could Hex you and do a lot of damage.
Really cool, actually.
So it shut down a lot of the like Rest Talk setup sets, because we could also Haze your Calm Minds if you were that. If you're a Nasty Plot, it mattered a bit less. So that was pretty fun. I think our last move was
That's a really
Ice
cool
Beam.
set, actually.
We were pretty fast, so we were like trying to snipe D-Knight, stuff like that. But we experimented with some different coverage options, and we had Giga Drain, I think, on it as well in the end. And then Zapdos was pretty scary here, but we struggled with D-Knight, so it ended up being a pretty standard like Fizdef set. We probably could have tried some other Gallades, to be honest, but we ended up liking our 6 quite a bit. At one point, we were really struggling to the point where Theo tried passing A12 of Paste, and that shit did not stick at all. Because A12 is not someone you pass a Paste to begin with, but passing him like a Theo Paste, that worked with some players throughout the season. Like Blitz did that a couple times, and he used it really well. Someone else I can't remember. We tried with A12, and it just wasn't working, and it was hard to play super fat here anyways.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Ultimately, he loaded his Comfort, and it was doing pretty well in Mox by the end of the week. We felt pretty confident it could win.
Something I didn't notice until now is that on Team Preview, you can see the Scissor's item list. Even like after the game, I thought it was just holding the Mega Stone.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
I think
That's
holding
actually
the
Like how
Mega
we could
Stone.
see that your Zapdos was male specifically. On
We
preview
knew that
like
was gonna
which we
happen.
all thought was hilarious
Yeah.
spectating, but it made sense.
Yeah, but I thought it would be Mega you get the same knock benefit, but you just block Trick as well. Like, just don't click Mega.
That would be better. I guess
Yeah.
we just missed that. I forget. I think that was the only thing we took from Theo's like bulkier paste was we should actually just remove the item altogether. But yeah, Mega Stone is technically optimal, I think.
There is an interesting thing with Scizor, where if it's like choice banded beat up Weavile, it does actually 2-hit KO, and you can EV Weavile to live a bullet punch from defensive Scizor. So like that's like the scariest thing for Scizor, especially with like your Dark Resist being so poverty. We definitely considered beat up initially, but ended up going with different moves, especially like
I felt it was too inconsistent because like it's a pretty offensive matchup, so like it was pretty hard, like inconsistent engineering the like scenario where I get to click beat up freely with everything alive.
And we felt like we had
when it was that
revenge
set, we
options.
used it early game, right? And
Yeah.
Weavile was like such a good revenge killer here that using it early game was
it felt like
really
a
not
waste.
as effective as using mid game.
Especially
another
'cause
thing
we're
we
pretty
saw.
offensive with our lead even, so it's hard for you to keep all your mons that long.
Another thing we saw quite frequently in Mox was the Sneasel being like bulky Eviolite as like the banded knock switch in, because you just live 2 if you have a little bit of defense. You can pickpocket the band. But also, like sometimes you don't even want to pickpocket because then you have itemless knock the next turn. But I guess dealing a choice band, same thing. And this took a little bit of heat off of the Scizor to allow it to be like an offensive SD set, which was obviously the scariest thing in the end games, like 9 times out of 10.
It also lives like a lot of E-speed. Like
E-speed,
rolls, like,
Dragonite.
different boost
You need
levels,
+3 to kill Eviolite after rocks or something, like something insane. So we saw that a lot.
Just red Pharaoh bench to the point where we like banded looks too strong not to bring.
And like even
but
if
there
we
was like a
brought
lot
Pharaoh,
of bucks where both were switching into each other. Like Sneasel was coming out Weavile, Weavile was coming out Sneasel, and it was pretty funny.
I mean, even if we brought Pharaoh, it wasn't going to be very good into Liquid Ooze plus Zapdos plus Scizor, You just can never really get through those.
Yeah, I think that covers our prep pretty much anyways.
No, I have one more question. J-Scarf,
100p?
how did you
What the hell?
soul read us? How did you soul read us by bringing heat proof instead of levitate?
Heat proof instead of levitate? Did we do that?
Was it heat proof?
I think that was just bait. No?
I don't even think that's true.
I'm pretty sure
no,
the person who said it was heat proof isn't even on your team. So
yeah, that's gotta be like we definitely brought.
They're just LARPing.
Yeah, I think it was a joke.
There's a Lando,
You'll
bro.
see HP Fire does too much.
Okay, fine.
There's a fucking Lando.
If you
So-
want, I can go over like what I'm
Yeah.
clicking here. Like, yeah, sure. Okay, so like L5 said before, we're just trying to get rocks up on lead. Michael can get it done against like anybody except Sneasel, like in case he like ice flinch or whatever. So here we just go to our dedicated Weavile check and get a Sneasel check and get rocks up.
Mhm.
The other thing is like we're against 2 steals with the NC, and it kind of doesn't beat either of them. So like relegating it to this defensive rocks roll felt like pretty likely.
Yeah. And that calc we see is like very important that it does so
Yeah,
little
yeah.
with banded icicle crash.
It's
turn
gonna
one,
matter a
turn
lot
one,
later.
two.
Yeah.
Chad, is this foreshadowing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then here, this is a line that we tested a lot. Like we were like, okay, when Bronzong comes in on DNC, it's probably setting rocks. This is our in on Dragonite because we're not really planning to spin these rocks off. And then here, we're just trying to break as much as we can before we go down, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Like here, we're just going into our like blanket Fizdef guy. Basically, we know we live one.
Mm-hmm.
and we are Lumberry,
you-
so this discharge static stuff, it's scary, but you need to like double proc. You only get it
Yeah,
once.
it's a fish. Like it's 50% to get one of them. We're probably not going to get 2.
Well, it's exactly the odds, right? You got 1 out of
Yeah.
3, which like, yep, that's about right.
Now here,
Yeah.
I was seeing anytime that Chomp was coming in on my D Knight all week, it was Scarf. So like I was pretty certain it was Scarf here.
Yeah,
So-
and it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
But
are
this was an
Stone Edge
adjustment
though.
we
I feel
made,
like
up Stone Edge.
I feel like
from
Stone Edge
mid-ground
probably
at
didn't kill our
least.
Dragonite, so that was more so just like a mid ground
We were
click, and then
adamant. I think it probably, unless you were super fat.
If it was Adamant, Dragon Claw killed D Knight, so I'm guessing that like Stone Edge was pretty close as well. So it might have been able to.
maybe, yeah, maybe.
Stone
But
Edge is
either
much
way-
weaker. Stone Edge is Adamant. Stone Edge is weaker than Jolly Jiggler.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
Okay, then it probably wasn't killing. But
either way,
anyways, yeah, I switched out because I still saw value in the D Knight, like fire punching Zong and Scizor, stuff like that.
well, fire double. You see this? That was hot.
Yeah, and so here I'm thinking like, okay, one of the steals is coming in. I'm just gonna go to my Michael, who like didn't get to do his original purpose, which was to like suicide lead, but like he's still valuable into the Bronzong because he can just spam knockoff and chip it down.
Yeah, this is just like a trade for us because
And-
Lando's a bit
Mhm.
of a threat.
Was this an offensive Bronzong? Because that was like a lot of damage.
It was
Yes.
like max HP, max special attack, pretty much.
Okay,
And
yeah.
yeah, we were just spamming Flash Cannon, Shadow Ball to weaken stuff. Like,
So here, like, the Yancy is already super low HP. It's not really checking Sneasel anymore. I'm just thinking, like, I can both, like, get a sack after killing the Bronzong, like, right away, you know, not have to take rocks and something else. And here, I know the Sneasel is banded. I'm obviously not switching this out because this is, like, my check and, like, the easiest sack. But, like, I'm just looking at the calcs and I'm like, huh, he has to lock into something useful. And, like, there's a chance that like he just clicks knockoff and it doesn't kill if he like didn't calc that I'm like max his def or something. And well, yeah, you can play the turn.
Yeah,
yeah, and like for us, you don't really want to lock into Ice Move because
You
we
really
don't have
don't.
a Starmie switching
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all.
it's really
Yeah,
scary.
So-
exactly.
I don't know. Like it was almost certainly a roll. I don't think we calculated that specifically because this ended up being like super bulky. And,
Yeah, this was like
you know,
literally
it was
bold.
all
Like,
100%. yeah,
Yeah.
but so like that's kind of what we could tell from like that first, turn 1. But for us, it was like we don't really want to give Starmie a free turn. Looks like we just kind of lose and we get our
no,
rocks off.
definitely. No, I definitely
So
see
like
that.
you guys get spin then kill something. So we were very scared of
yeah,
that. But the knock really backfired, which was
Mhm.
unfortunate.
yeah. Now Scizor is just gonna revenge with bullet punch.
Because we can't really revenge with anything else either. So yeah.
But now
it's a lot
Thanos
of
comes
pressure
in.
That turn forces. Yeah.
Yeah, here it's like a really free wisp. It's value onto anything.
Yeah.
Here,
We get,
okay,
like, our
here,
check
I had
in,
no
but-
idea what to expect from Tentacruel because like people were
Yeah.
bringing all kinds of different annoying sets throughout the week, and then I was a little bit glad to see the 6% Giga Drain because like now I can kind of chip stuff down with E-Speed. Like if I chip this Tentacruel, thing is just over, and then like obviously I have Fire Punch for the Scizor, and then got chip on Garchomp instead, which was also pretty valuable. I get to
Yeah,
see
now
the
it
lock
can't
as
really come
well.
in on like Shadow Ball,
Worked
for
out quite
example.
nice.
Yeah,
And Dookie's back,
so here
back
Free Shadow
again.
Ball.
Bag Tentacruel's just taking like more rocks, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah, and then
we
the
haven't
burn.
forced much chip yet.
Here it was weird, but I was like, huh, Scissor's at full. My Weavile is kind of not doing anything. I think like Starmie and Cofagrigus just kind of win it on their own. So might as well just
Mhm.
sack the Weavile.
Yeah, that was pretty reasonable play.
hmm
I mean, we're gonna try to preserve this because like we want to try to beat the Call for Grigus, but you know, it looks very tough at this point.
Yeah, here I was like, wow, no item. That's unfortunate because like that's so little damage.
Yeah, and that like makes it a bit easier to kind of just like aggressively U-turn there, but you know, it's still kind of a bit too late looking at the game. But here we were kind of hoping you stay in and like you rest or something because we could just try to hex you down and that would work out nicer for us. But you made a really good play sacking Weavile, not like allowing Call for Grigus to get
It looked weird, but I was like looking for my lose cons and I was like, I'm like forcing this Psyshock play like got a kill because Scizor doesn't live 2 after rocks and then like
that was like definitely the correct line, definitely very heads up because you really need to keep this guy alive at all costs. This is okay, so wait, how bulky was your Starmie? Because this is what we were a bit like concerned about in terms of like, did we choke the game? Because we're adamant chomp, we could have locked Outrage, and that looks like it could have given us outs. But if you're HP Fire, you don't need to try to speed tie Sneasel anymore.
You had a little bit.
You would have one shot with the Outrage. We had like no bulk basically. But the thing is, we are Scarf here though, so like which obviously outspeeds Chomp. So yeah.
So you can't pivot Starmie necessarily. I think this is the turn where if U-turn was clicked and then Dookie dies to Garchomp, we're kind of fucked, right? Because you have to lock Ice to revenge Chomp, and then Scizor will live.
Here's where like since we changed the Scarf last minute, I kind of forgot that like Rapid Spin's probably not getting clicked as often. A Water Move's probably pretty good here. Like Water Move would have been insane in this end game because like it
would have just won,
would kill everything.
Yeah, so I guess, we didn't have much information about your move set for your item. So,
but here, this does allow the rest to go off, and then game's done.
But yeah, that just, unkillable. Dookie's pretty strong. I don't know, this guy's like ORAS OU. He's good.
Is he OU now?
Like, as someone who hasn't had much experience in this tier before this tour, I was surprised that he's only 6 points, because like he's been amazing in like every time I bring him.
No, he's still RU, but he does have an OU niche.
Okay.
I was gonna say, he has like high OU usage at least for like
this guy has Torment stats, so yeah.
Right. And Dookie ends it off with a Shadow Ball, and that ties up the series 1-1. Or no, we're up 2-1. We're up 2-1.
Yeah, you're up now.
Yeah.
This game.
I'm already crying.
So Thanos is here, right? Virizion. Save me, Virizion. And you can see we're Terra Ghost on everything. So this is going to be Terra Ghost Goldango and also Terra Ghost Virizion. So our idea here was, well, we had a bunch of ideas here. We had like 3 different pastes that were all like 65% winning, So it's hard to pick one because all of them have their issues.
Losing to Zarude.
Yeah. Mind Game is really good from what I know. Yeah, he's like pretty consistent in these tours.
I'll glaze him when we get to our prep because it was a fun season working with him for sure. He's a really cool player.
Yeah, so Terra Ghost, Goldango, this means that we can run Terra Blast and not get revenged by Ditto, basically. And still have that really strong Ghost move, which they don't have a great resist to once this Zarude Terras. We were expecting Terra Electric Zarude, right? A lot of our prep is revolved around this Zarude being an electric type, which turns out not to be the case.
For almost
for sure, yeah.
Until like literally Saturday or Sunday. So yeah, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, so basically we have a Rocky Helmet Great Tusk with Roar. This is designed to like just scout things out, take hits, get rid of the threats, and set rocks, spin, that sort of thing. Interesting that you benched Gliscor, because in mocks, like one of the most challenging things was breaking Allo Gliscor. Like there was multiple mocks where I lost all of my pieces, right? I lost 4 Mons, and then my Allo Gliscor just was unbreakable, and I just won. It was really disgusting. But yeah. Our Dio is choice specs, which, this is the main thing, being like, oh, the Zarude's probably not going to stay as a dark type. So spec Psycho Boost, the only resist is Scizor, but also if you stay a dark type, there's no real fighting resist here outside of the Gliscor, which doesn't want to come out on Deoxys, so at the end of the day, you still have a button to click. And we have Fire Punch as well on our Specs Deoxys, because if we snipe the Scizor, all of a sudden our buttons are very, very clickable. Our Zapdos is like a little bit especially offensive, a little bit physically defensive, kind of a mixed spread. with Dual Stab, U-Turn, and Roost. We were testing Tailwind for a while. This was a really good idea from Agent Flame. Basically covers for Trailblaze Zarude, because we then underspeed in Tailwind, we get a slow U-turn, and we get one of our breakers in that's faster than Zarude in Tailwind, even after the Trailblaze. That was a cool idea, but we ended up not going for it. But yeah, and then Goldango, Terra Ghost, this is Eject Pack, so we become itemless, and this becomes a big deal when paired with Virizion screens. So Virizion screening up for Goldango was the main idea of this paste. And that breaks the entire team early game. With light screen up, you're not really revenged by anything, really. And with Reflect, obviously you 1v1 Zarude very easily. And the idea was, initially, the most obvious pivot is going to be the Terapagos. So if we're able to get the Make It Rain Eject Pack to break the shell, next time Goldango's in, it's like really tough for you guys. So that's why we're leading it, to get the shell early, and then we get the screens mode later. And then our Florges is actually Calm Mind with skill swap, so it beats Toxic Gliscor. That was like our tech to like get out of those nasty endgame situations, because the idea being, once Dio lures the Scizor, which it pretty much always eventually did, whenever that happens, Florges with the poison heal, because Gliscor was like almost certainly going to be toxic. It could have been like Spidef Sword Stance, but toxic we saw like 90% of Mox, so this Florges was just Thanos in the end games. And also, this also guards against Encore, because if you Encore with Bundle, you can just stay in. And with Leftovers and Poison Heal, you actually never break it. So you actually PP stall Encore, which is a super funny tech. And you can't freeze because we're Toxic. But yeah, then screens for Virizion, Taunt, Sacred Sword. Just there to support Goldango.
Yeah.
Alright, now we can talk about your side.
We can move on to our side now, yeah. So Mind Gaming is just like, he's kind of one of those players where you mock him and you're like, he just understands this differently than I do and better than I do. And he makes you feel like kind of bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of a nightmare mocking him all season, especially with this team in particular, which is like all he used. But like, just the Aloe Glisk, like, it was so hard to break. And then like the Seraph goes through. It was just a complete headache all season. But we were actually struggling a lot with this matchup. Relatively speaking, I feel like we were prepared for what you brought, and we're considering, like, shout out Killer. He was a great support all season, and he'd make everyone like 3 mocks in finals per slot. But like, we were very heavily prepared for Florges and Virizion in particular, because Blitz and I on frame 1, we got the matchup where like, these guys just spam their low tiers. They're gonna bench someone they're gonna bench someone huge. They love these two. They've won all their last games with these two. So we prepped for like the screens Virizion, the SD Virizion. We prepped for like CM Florges, Choice Florges.
I bet you didn't prep for the Virizion when you were so close to bringing.
Probably not. We didn't prep for skill swap for sure, but otherwise we felt like, you know, we covered most angles. But yeah, like you said, we were bringing Electric Zarude pretty much the whole time, but it wasn't working out that great, to be honest. And Deoxys was becoming a problem even meanwhile. Bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So we actually pivoted to bringing Ditto over Gliscor. We've been trying offensive Gliscors with like Expert Belt or Yachi, and we just decided that those weren't actually that great, and it made our lead situation pretty fishy.
That sounds pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah, because for some reason, I don't know, Toxic Orb just wasn't clicking. So we decided Terra Electric Ditto. It does the same thing where it kind of stops Zapdos, and like Zapdos is great into our team. It's also great into your team. So we were having some fun with that. But it's also pretty good for like a Make It Rain resist, stuff like that. And, you know, that ended up being quite successful. So we went to it because we also saw that like Choppel Zarude was like really good bait in its base typing, and it could force a lot of progress regardless. So that felt like it was going to be relatively successful. Otherwise, Bundle was just like a pretty standard, I think, specs like offensive set. Scizor was like bulky SD defog. In case you guys did try to stack us, and then in the late game we could force something, but we had knockoff, so we could try to beat most Goldengos if it Terra'd Ghost or if it just stayed base. And then Tarop was like basically just rocks, 3 attacks, like pretty standard stuff. Or maybe that Toxic, I forget. But yeah, Max, like mine was pretty much bringing like these fat teams the whole time, and it was like a bit of a more offensive build out of him, but you know, it's still like kind of hard to break, and it still pressures back. So it was pretty cool. And in general, we just saw this team structure do so well this tour between like our team, agency, Yeah,
It was
Zarude,
obviously very
Taragas is just
successful, this
broken.
top 3. I think your version was better, but some people disagree with me. They thought Agencies was better. I think they're about the same, but I definitely like Scizor. I've been like low-key like on the Scizor train for a while, but I cannot convince my teammates to draft it no matter how hard I try. But yeah. So a few things we were also considering is Specs Terra Grass Virizion. This was a similar idea to the Deoxys, where like if the Zarude Terra's out of the grass typing, and then like we're able to weaken the Scizor, and we had ways to weaken Scizor on that paste, but Specs Virizion just kind of clicked Giga Drain and was unkillable and killed everything. So that was really fun. The other thing we were considering was Choice Banded Terra Dark Weavile, which was pretty successful for a while until we figured out like, they could just go Aloe, take the knock. That does a lot of damage, but then you're itemless and you can pivot to Zarude, and you save the sack, and then now Aloe itemless walls the entire time. Well, not the entire time, because Throat Chop still is like definitely a threat, but it was definitely harder than it needed to be. But yeah, Specs Virizion was taking names for sure. Let's get into the game.
Even
Though.
that game, right? If you end up not tearing this route, there's no fighting resist.
Yeah, like that Specs Virizion had Aura Sphere. It would have
would've
just
been
been Thanos. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay.
That was Fizz Death Aloe.
Yeah. I see that Goldango into Zarude lead, but obviously we have to switch out on that. And this knockoff does so much damage. Makes me think like Swords Dance into Terra Dark. We're like, ah, fuck, are we just lose or what? But it's okay because we roost, and Mind Gaming goes Ditto and tears it immediately, and we're like, bro, what is this? And it's slower as well, so like, I don't know. We just go Florges and it doesn't do anything. And then, funny enough, our Zapdos is like minus speed to get slow U-turns on anything. But this means our Florges is faster than the Ditto. Unless you're like Iron Ball for no reason, but probably not, right? So this Florges does so much damage to the Ditto. And now the Ditto's basically out of commission. So we're like, okay, this is awesome. We get the Synth here on the Scizor switch. And we can just go Tusk, get some Helmet Chip on this guy, but a nice double to Wrap. At this point, what do we do? Just go Goldango on the Rock's turn, sure. Now we Terra Ghost, get out of the Flamethrower resist. We get burned, unfortunately, but Make It Rain does its job. Gets the shell and gets out of there. Into the Great Tusk. And basically we're like, okay, we can go Great Tusk and get a spin-off because nobody stays in with Terrapagos here. You just go Aloe every time. It's like the safest play ever. But Mind Gaming, like you said, his mind works in mysterious ways. He just stays in for the love of the game and then crits our Great Tusk, which is not a good turn, all things considered.
Okay, I think I'm back now. I was having some internet issues.
Oh no.
But yeah.
This was like, bro.
That was tough.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, it's not your fault.
Yeah. Magician Terrapagos, yeah. Okay, well now our Virizion comes in. We go for Reflect into Light Screen. They stand in Flamethrower again. We get both screens out of this, and now Aloe comes in. We go Gold on the flip turn. Go with screens up. There's not really anything that can kill us. Zarude can come in and 1v1 us though with Swords Dance. So we're just going to take the heal and probably get out of there, right? Into Zapdos with screens up and no item. This doesn't really do a whole lot. And now we can just go for a U-turn, right? If he stays in, big damage because it's 4 times. They switch, cool, momentum and screens up. Now Goldango can come in, and now Goldango is like pretty scary. You go for a Make It Rain, don't really have a resist outside of Scizor, which, you know, obviously we set up on, so not the greatest switch on. Now Zarude comes in, we go to Virizion, reset the light screen and Reflect here. Well, just Reflect really. But we don't go for Reflect, we instead go for a Sacred Sword into Chople and get Acroed. So
yeah, this is where
tough.
we kept finding that like the bait sort of base set was working.
Yeah, it makes
nicely.
sense. It makes sense. But now Dio comes in and there's no Focus Blast resist, right? So this is at least a trade back. So we can just lock Focus Blast it to Akio's the entire team because we're choice specs and we just miss. And it's like, okay, we can deal with the burn on Goldango, we can deal with like a crit on Great Tusk, but this is like, you can't have it all, you know? And like, once we get rid of Zarude, like all of a sudden Goldango's Thanos. Like, Florges as well, pretty good, forces Scizor in, but like we have checks to Scizor. Kind of like it's like not over, you know. There's definitely outs. Scizor did not win immediately. Come on.
Yeah, it definitely did. Like, it's knocked Scizor, but it's not like that strong yet. There's still Zapdos alive.
Well, Zapdos was pretty low, but
Static
yeah.
too.
Yeah, true. Like Zapdos, I don't know. Like, that's
lose.
just like the checks got hacked out a little bit, so you know. It's hard to say how that game goes, but like obviously it's gonna be a close game. It's not gonna like. There's no.
It's not free by any means.
Zarude
like,
sacked.
yeah.
Like that was a planned sack. So it's like you know. And like I don't think you'd revealed specs yet, so that's kind of where we see specs. We go from there, but yeah.
I don't think it would reveal
was
specs, right? At 68, it could be anything.
Probably not, no, because we've already used up our Chople, yeah. So,
yeah, like you could
not.
think it's like Expert Belt Fire Punch that makes it hard to go Scizor. I don't know.
Yeah. You brought that, I think, in, was it tie breaks or semis? So, like, it was on our radar. We mocked against specs, so I think it was, like, expected to a degree.
Expected,
part of the reason
you could say?
Yeah, that was good.
But yeah.
Like, that's part of the reason we used this, like, base Zarude set, but, like, you know, there's still not much you can do about it.
Well, yeah,
Like,
'cause
it's strong in the matchup for a reason.
In semis, we faced pretty much the same build with the same team, right? It was Zarude, Pagos, Aloe, bulky steel, a ground flying, and then bundle.
Bundle as well.
It's really like the same structure, right? So I feel like you guys could have actually scouted us quite well with what we brought.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, I think we did, to be honest, like, because it was mostly what we, like, this is when you say you called the Theo build, like, this build, I feel like if we called anything, it was probably this one, but you still had some things that were, like, huge threats into our team regardless. Like, that's why mine struggled a bit more than usual in terms of getting to a final pace.
Yep. All right, and now we have the series is tied up 2-2 at this point, and now we have Thanos, aka Loki P with a comfy. He just doesn't lose with this guy.
Unless it's frozen.
Yeah. Well,
Unless it's frozen.
so this is an interesting matchup. This is a rematch from I think week 3. It was. We played this exact matchup. And in that one,
but neither team changed, so.
Yeah,
you know,
there was no mid-season
very direct,
transactions
so.
from either side, so just a true mirror, not mirror, but like a rematch. And so last time, what happened was Wyatt was piloting this team versus Lax using the Dio team, and Lax was able to just outplay in the mid game, and get an advantage and just very suffocating end game. This time though, Loki P at the helm. And he has a Sneasel. So, so basically, the bench is Nihilego and what was the other bench? Cyclizar, yeah. So Nihilego is actually a pretty big threat into their team, which is why you see the Stunfisk and the Keldeo, like the 2 rock resists. But the problem is, Keldeo's not actually that good into us. Like, there's a Mega Lottie, there's a Comfy. So Keldeo's mainly there as like a resist like profile kind of guy, where like you can kind of trade into Sneasel, into the Celesteela, even Urshifu Rapid, right? You have a resist to Surging Strikes, at least in the mid game. But yeah, it is definitely tough for you guys.
Yeah, we previously did not bring Keldeo, but I mean, keeping in mind what you said, like, I'll talk about our set later, but this time it's like we have to change something because it's a rematch and the teams are the same. It didn't really feel great when we won last time, but like we won, which makes it harder usually anyways. So yeah, we kind of had to do something, and we weren't really expecting Cyclizar, but Nihilego we were, like, for the most part expecting it was that or Sneasel in like the last slot, but Sneasel was really strong into what we ended up bringing essentially.
Well, I think you brought about as good as you could into it, right? Overnight plus Keldeo. That's all you really have available on the roster.
Yes. Sets wise, probably not, but yeah, we brought like the 2 mons that can kind of check it. Yeah.
Right, I guess I'll go into our prep, or I guess Lo can do it because you built it.
Yeah, I can pull it up. Let me open it up. Okay, it's here. Okay, so my main game plan is I definitely think I had a huge matchup advantage, but one thing that Blitz could have done is like he did have like a lot of flexibility in the mods he can bring. Like this is a very versatile draft, so I think my biggest challenge was always gonna be scouting the sets, right? Especially the Terapagos. Which mon has toxic? Which mon is def? What's the DO? What's the move pool on arrow? So there's a lot of things, and the team plays very differently. If there's like a Keldeo, no Keldeo. If there's a Moon, no Moon. And if there's a Stunfisk, right? If there's a Stunfisk, I can assume it's going to be played defensively. If there's like no Stunfisk and there's a Keldeo, I can assume it's going to be more offensive. Which actually I expected the team this time around to be more offensive, because I know Blitz is more of... I've usually... When he builds on his own, he's usually a more aggressive player. But anyways, I actually thought... what did I start with? Obviously, Urshifu, the set we had last time, it's the same one. It was SD, Surging Strike, Sakojet, Drain Punch. It was Impish, really fat, max HP, a lot of Speed F. So it's always going to be the lead, so guarantee strong damage off lead. If Deoxys switches in, it has to heal, so I can get Gliscor and get the rocks up. So then we were Gliscor with Stealth Rock, Taunt, Roost, U-Turn. It was into Toxic Orb. It was a Rocky Helmet. There's one thing I was not struggling, but one thing I felt Gliscor was going to do is be passive and give Corviknights free switch-ins. And I think Taunt to prevent defog plus Rocky Helmet plus Rocks Up, it's like a net 29%. If Corv comes in and it's not leftovers, I think it was leftovers, right? But anyways, it's still a net like over 20% if it comes in on rocks and has to U-turn. And then I had that last U-turn. I really have like I don't think like clicking EQ was really good. I thought Muck was really bad that game, and I could just pivot around like all my fat guys. And if Muck comes, that means something good is not coming. And U-turn was really nice. Like I was fast, so I could be faster than I think it was Modest Terapagos. Because Terapagos was actually the one I was mostly worried about. Not because I thought like a Rapid Spin, Terra Starstorm, T-Bolt, Calm Mind set was super annoying because you could always keep hazards off and super pressure my team. And if you had Stunfisk, you could just ignore the ground move, ignore Nihilego, and then it becomes like really threatening. That's what I was really afraid of. So I had that. Next up was Comfy, again another Rocky Helmet. It was kind of like a mid ground of everything. Obviously Moon check. It was Keldeo check with Rocky Helmet again. So I wanted to punish Keldeo flip turning because I figured Keldeo was doing two things: flip turning or clicking Toxic. Because you want to catch a Mega Lati. You then never want to give Mega Lati a free switch in because this mon is too good. So I had Leech Seed to force pressure early game because I wasn't using it late game, and Leech was really good into Corviknight, keeping it low. Mainly for Terapagos actually, so I had Leech and Encore to stuff the Terapagos down if it was going to be that Calm Mind set. I would have liked to run Taunt. I think Taunt was generally better, but that Terapagos set was too annoying for me to run Encore because Taunt would wear down the Corviknight. As you can see later, I think Sneasel is really good once Corviknight's weakened and around 60. So that was a Comfy. Then we have the defensive Celesteela to check the arrow, just max HP, max defense, heavy slam, flamethrower, protect Leech Seed. So this time around, I think last time we were Toxic over flamethrower, but literally the same set. Just wear down the team. It's really hard to kill. And arrow doesn't really force a lot of pressure, and Leech Seed actually gives me a lot of free switch-ins to stuff if you have to heal your mons eventually, because you don't necessarily enjoy pivoting into the Steela. So next mon was Mega Latias. We were like we toyed around a long time this week with the Lati set. We knew I had a few sets. First I was like Fizz Def, T-Wave, Dragon Pulse, Roost, Refresh. It was alright, but it was kind of like just stuffed by Corviknight. Like it was just T-Wave stuff and do nothing. So I thought of his set. It was DD, Refresh, Dragon Claw Roost that was kind of just winning any game unless the Corviknight was bulk up, right? We almost brought that set, but I really wanted something more similar because I couldn't really scout if Corviknight was bulk up before bringing in Delati, so I would kind of just have to like get in Lati, start DDing up, and hope you weren't bulk up. So that set was kind of awkward. If the Corv was bulk up, which usually it wasn't, but if it was, like the game was going to be really hard for me. For like literally the best mon in a tier, and to be walled by a bulk up Corviknight, right? Because it could be bulk up Roost, U-turn, Ironhead, and you have Spin Terapagos for the removal. So I switched up to a kind of like EVs like everywhere, like some bulk, modest 140 special attack, no speed, with agility, charge beam, Dragon Pulse, Roost. So this set obviously can be weak to status, something like Toxic Keldeo, so that's why I didn't want to let this guy take a Toxic. I think agility, charge beam was like really nice, because if you go Corviknight, then it doesn't get Toxic, right? So I can just charge beam for free, get the +1, and then like nothing really kills me. I kill all the offensive threats, and if you want to wear me down with like a Toxic on Deoxys Terapagos, well, you die in 2, right? So you have to sack 2 bonds to get like 20% damage, and like the Lati is still healthy and still gonna force a lot of pressure. So the Lati felt a bit more consistent. And what's the last one? Yeah, Sneasel. I thought Sneasel was good. I was unsure between Sneasel and Lego, but since I didn't have a Scarfer, I think late game Arrow, late game Moon could be really annoying, especially since I'm using Urshifu early game. So I wanted a mon that would actually be a win con, but also like a check to Moon and Arrow. And I thought Sneasel, like if you guys brought a super fat team again, Sneasel was going to be really good because it sets up for free on Dio. And Ice Shard Adamant would kill Arrow after rocks. I think max HP Arrow, it was like 90% chance to kill, and it would kill Moon. It was again like a super high favor roll. And you would expect Moon to take a helmet because I double helmet anyways, right? So I was SD Ice Shard knockoff, and the last move wasn't sure between triple Axel and Pursuit, but I found myself like only clicking Axel into Mug. Because I figured Corv was going to be sped F because you needed it for the Lati, and Fizdef really doesn't give you much because Urshifu is still going to beat Fizdef. So I made it Pursuit last in case you were trying to play around preserving the Keldeo and not, or like a super fat Keldeo, so I could Pursuit the Deoxys instead and then like be like Thanos with Urshifu. Because if it was like fat Dio and Urshifu is yeah, it's fat Dio and Urshifu's faster, I'd get SD on it, and then nothing really enjoys like nothing really enjoys revenging, right? It kind of has to be Keldeo or Roaring Moon, but they don't do a lot of damage to me. So, anyways, that's the team. That was a little in depth, but
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I'll cover Blitz's team now. Before I do that, I just want to shout out Blitz because he was a very good soldier all season. He kind of played the tier that nobody wanted to play for like, actually maybe all of his games. He was using our bad Usum team a lot. He was playing a lot of Oras, and he was playing this Natdex matchup. So he deserves a shout for that because he definitely ran like the most mocks of anyone on our team this week and like struggled the most with his matchup because like your team's just really good, to be honest. Like these were like the 2 best teams by record, but your team felt like a very poor matchup for us. So like we had to pivot off to something because we ended up winning with a stall win con last time. So we did find that we could like sort of tune up the offense a bit more. And that was kind of the best approach. So you're going to see a nasty plot Deoxys defense with like Ice Beam, Psyshock, and T-Bolt, which kind of hit everything besides the Sneasel, and was quite strong overall in the matchup we found in a lot of mocks. Arrow was like a pretty standard attacking set, like just a cleaner. I think this time we changed to Pursuit though, so we could try to remove the Latias a bit more reliably, because we were having more issues with Latias this week than when we played you in the regular season. Terapagos was a cool set. It was Toxic EQ to one-hit the Nihiligo, and then it was T-Bolt Ice Beam, I think, so no Starstorm actually at all. And it's a bit weak into Comfy, but otherwise it was very strong, and it had like interesting coverage, but the mix set was pretty cool here. Corv was like Spadef and pretty standard. The one thing was it had Spite on the set, which was actually working a lot of the time into the Mega Lottie in like PP stalling, either recover or like T-Bolt or whatever attacking move you had, especially into like a lot of the Mono Dragon sets, which would be DD or they would be CM. But ultimately, you know, it's hard because it made us mono U-turn, and like you just can't really account for anything, or I mean everything. But Spite was a cool tech that ended up working a lot, and obviously Mega Lottie is now banned in that deck's draft after this season, so
Yeah.
you know we had to allocate a lot to that. Keldeo was our lead always. It was Toxic, Hydro Pump, Vacuum Wave, Weakness Policy. And that was like a big change because it kind of traded with everything, especially if you ended up taking the bait and like draining kissing it, which is a weak move, or a lot of the attacks Lottie would throw out, specifically because we pretty much never saw Psychic. We always saw like T-Bolt, if anything, which doesn't come like close to Oko-ing Keldeo, even if you're like +1 usually. So Weakness Policy popped quite often and was really strong. Hydro Pump in general is like decently strong into your team besides Lottie, which would be Toxic, then go to +2. And like that was a good way to keep it low, but also beat most of your leads in general. And then we did try Moon for a lot of the week, but like everyone was bringing like 3 Fizz-Def Mons, Gliscor, Stila, Comfy, and Comfy in particular, just like Stonewalls, a lot of Moon sets. So like we tried
If you look
DD,
at your team, right? If you look at the draft, every Mon is a physical attacker outside of Terapagos.
pretty much, and like Keldeo, yeah.
Keldeo,
but Keldeo's
like,
not a huge
natural
threat.
checks. Yeah.
Yeah, like our main offense would be Arrow Moon, and those guys get walled if you're just Fizz-Def on your team. So that was like why we're running to challenges. But Fisk was just like a rocker. We were still scared of Nihilego, and like just like even Stila, it's a good natural check-in too. So you know, we ended up bringing it back. Muck we could never find a use for, even though on paper it looks like it would be a good Lottie check. It just really isn't.
It just
we were
loses to every Lottie
Reflect
set.
Type.
It loses to every single one.
DD and Reflect type and like fatter Roost sets, even if they're not like specifically super designed to beat you. Like Refresh sets are really it's just like not it's just not that good. So yeah, that's pretty much the prep. But
all right,
it felt like this was a very uphill battle.
Let's get into the game. So Rashid was going to lead off into Keldeo, and we're just going to trade HP on the water fighting types. Drain Punch into Toxic. I mean, Hydro does 30, so like, who really cares? Surging Strikes here is interesting, trying to catch a Deoxys pivot, I believe. That's the only switch that can really make sense, and this will also put it in Drain Punch range next turn, so...
Exactly, right? Because I don't want Deoxys to just take a drain and then click teleport and get momentum on me, right?
Yeah.
And if I surging strikes it, it's like not a big deal. Because I'm like, again, this is super fat Urshifu, right? So I didn't expect him to take an attack. His Drain Punch, like if I click Drain Punch, he wouldn't have got any progress. But I kind of get it, right? Because like, he doesn't. Now that I know his Deoxys set, I get the play, right?
Yeah. We just go to Comfy. Hydro Pump misses.
This is like super stiff.
Yeah.
And I'm clicking Leech anyways, right? So it's not really a big deal.
He would have recovered all of it back, basically. Now Rocks go up. It's going to be a Rocks trade.
You get to leech instead of like synthing. You might not synth every time.
He would have leeched,
Like every 2 times or whatever, maybe we miss out on it. But like in general,
This was like calm nature Comfy. Like that was actually bouncing
I was
off.
taking like a 50 from Specs Keldeo or something like that.
Nice. And you're gonna see how much this Hydro does here. No, never mind.
No, we won't.
We'll never find out.
On the other one, it's like whatever.
But why the fuck was he Hydro and not fucking Surf?
Because we didn't have a like coverage move to hit Urshifu, and we needed to do enough damage to it with like move plus Toxic in order to like not get super 1v1'd.
Yeah. I just know he missed.
Same thing with like even Stila. Like I don't know. There's a lot of mons where it's just like it's tough if you're just like Surf.
Dude, how broken is Rocky Helmet, by the way? This Corv is at 53 after hazards.
Well, see, you have Roost on this guy, so there's Toxic Orb's still nice, but you really just don't need it, and it's really annoying. Anyways.
Right. So now Deoxys is in, and Deoxys coming in on Gliscor like this tells you one of two things. It's either fast taunt, or it's going to be an offensive setup set. Right, so Comfy just covers kind of both of them. If you want something taking a Toxic, it's probably Comfy, and this also covers the setup, but it's actually faster than our Comfy, so we get a slow Encore, but at the end of the day, locked into Psyshock, we have a Sneasel in the back, which is really scary for your team with Keldeo so low, so it's really hard for you to stay in here, so it's just a pretty free synthesis, and looks like you do predict the Sneasel.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, he might double, but like I literally lose nothing, right? Like, if you just spam Psyshock, eventually... Yeah. Because then because like if I went Sneasel, I literally killed. Like Sneasel was just so good that game because Keldeo was low. Like I knew he didn't really want to bring that in.
And this was a good turn here as well. Getting the Urshifu in on the Roost turn with Leech up allows us to get some HP back, offset the Toxic and Rocks. And now
Zephyr doesn't switch into it, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what did I do?
why did you not stay in? I think searching was pretty free.
No. So I wasn't gonna do damage to it. Yeah. So the thing is, like, I wasn't gonna do damage because I wasn't invested, right? I don't remember why. I know that was a reason. So I didn't want to. I knew like he could just roost stall me, because he knew I wasn't invested. I was literally like no attack, right? So he could stall me out even, with the leech sheet, I think.
So
it was leftovers.
Yeah. When I saw this, I thought Gliscor coming in was expecting a U-turn or a Brave Bird, because if you did Brave Bird in this situation, Brave Bird into Helmet, into Leech, into Taunt on the U-turn Helmet. Now the Corv's at like 40.
So that was that as well. Yeah. Because I like
as well as like
I don't need Corv like super low, and I think Urshifu was just to give me a pivot.
Either way,
then
Corv once again. U-turn on Helmet interaction.
I just don't want Keldeo coming in for free. This is again.
Keldeo came in for free. No.
But it's taking free damage, and I know eventually he's gonna Toxic, right? So I get the call right. And that sucked. That sucked, but it ended up not mattering.
There is a Slitherwing later this week for you.
It's just like a dead turn. Like both sides have to send someone out essentially, right? So
no, because Hydro didn't kill. I recovered enough.
Toxic, I think.
Yeah, I know, but Hydro Hydro did the it did 30.
Yeah.
And then I drained, recovered.
Similar stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been at like 1%. Like the only difference it made, like Psyshock was like a 40% chance to kill me or something, but he got it. So yeah, obviously a few Hydro misses were pretty annoying, but yeah. So okay, this is like the turn I was like super scared. Is this fucking Terapagos? Okay, I think this is like Nospadef.
It's like max HP kind of
I know
thing.
like he wants to get a Toxic off, right? The only reason you go into this is because you want to get a Toxic off.
Yeah, this isn't how you position like a setup set, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fair enough. You just go to Comfy.
Ice Beam.
Yeah, finally the Toxic comes out, and then Comfy is put on a timer.
Now Leech, yeah. That miss was a bit annoying because now it's not in range of like Sneasel at +2, I think. I wasn't in range of something. Because it could have just stalled me out. Yeah, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal because like it kind of compensates for the pump misses. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, the Fog comes out. The rocks are actually super important for us for the Sneasel win path because you need this Aerodactyl to take rocks. And this Corviknight as well just stays too healthy without the rocks up. But okay, we'll have to find a way to get him back up.
Roosts are running a bit low, but otherwise it's in
5 left.
Position.
Now Fisk in, another Leech, so a good play from Loki P.
Then again, it's like now it's a free Gliscor for me. Get up the rocks. I knew he was gonna double that turn, but I was like, it's not that big of a deal if Dio comes in. Like I can just go Sneasel. And here I just wanted to scout the set, right? So I think I doubled out scouting for the So I was like, okay, is he gonna have a fighting move in Cobra? And at this point, I was like, okay, I'm winning with Sneasel because I know I can set up on Deoxys.
Yeah,
this is whatever.
Yeah, we've revealed a lot of moves, and that's the thing.
Yeah, here's the big reveal, Spite.
I think that's what lost us the game, to be honest, is like, anyways, what we've discussed. Because like by revealing that, we don't have Ironhead now, and Sneasel just like really wins with certain positioning. So
yeah,
like we had chances to like bluff and do some other lines without revealing that, but now you kind of just like know you win.
So now it's like the Taunt Core forces to take Helmet and Rocks when it comes in. Trap in has Ice Beam, but we know we're faster with the U-turn now, so can just U-turn to Lottie. Catches a T-Bolt, but this chip is all we need, right? So this it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like Charge Beam, obviously expecting the Corviknight to come in, but if you stay in, now it's in Sneasel range, right? So
it's also
good.
like it's gonna put this guy in range of Dragon Pulse, right? So 2 Dragon Pulses was a roll.
Yeah.
Oh no, it actually killed, yeah. But I want to Charge Beam, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have
And now here, like, you can kind of click what's in front of you, and there's no way for Blitz to get out of this unscathed. Either way, something's taking a lot of chip. You get a nice double to Stun Fisk on the Charge Beam. Like, this is a good play. But at the end of the day, you still have to take a +1 Dragon Pulse on something.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to be on the Stun Fisk. It's a crit. I don't think that really changes a single thing. So.
Yeah, because yeah.
Yeah. And we've just gotten
so
to it.
The Lottie kind of opened up for the Sneasel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think here I go Sneasel. I'm like, okay, I can just win the game if he goes Dio or Corviknight. You went Terapagos. I knew I could win here. Actually, no. Yeah, I think I won with 1 SD. Yeah, if I got 1 SD up, I won. But I was like, I'll just like scout because it could be like body press last move.
Could also be like, yeah,
weird,
I think it would have clicked Heavy Slam earlier, but like,
yeah, I mean,
you want to be
like,
sure,
move,
right? You can set up on multiple mons here. The Deoxys,
yeah, because
Nihilego and Kamikyu was never gonna get revealed. So
yeah,
that's what I expected it to be, but I was like, just in case, right? Click.
Yeah.
T-Bolt.
Yeah, ESX Comfy for information. We see T-Bolt is the click versus Sneasel, but then like,
we'll
probably just go back to it in Swords Dance. Yeah, I think was the play.
That was, yeah.
But instead, Steela comes in, and this allows the Corviknight to heal, which is actually a big deal for the Sneasel.
No, it's not, because I can just SD. Because it can't touch me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
because we revealed Spite, the logic
it's
works
Spidef,
out,
so +3 knock is gonna kill it. Right, but yeah, I definitely messed up not going Terapagos. I was like afraid of the last move, but yeah.
But also crucially, now the defog is up, the rocks are gone, so Arrow can live a +2 Ice Shard.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get Gliscor in to set the rocks again.
And there's like nothing he can really do about it. So
fortunately, he clicked Roost, and now our rocks can just go up.
There you go. Yeah, now get the Deoxys in. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't set up on the Terapagos. I was just looking for the opportunity. I don't even know why I taunted here.
Just trying to sack the Gliscor, because this is our setup opportunity, and then Sneasel can come in.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if I was faster or not. Yeah, that was the.
We use the Sword Stance,
here I can just
and we can just Sword Stance again because this Corv has revealed it cannot kill the Glopper.
Yeah, here's just where we missed Ironhead, to be honest. But
yeah,
you know, Sneasel was really good prep. That was a good brain. It was on our radar, but we weren't fully accounted for it, and it really bit us.
That was like actually a good game. I think Blitz like felt that because like I knew he was fighting an uphill battle, right? And you can tell by like all the reads he was making because he needed to like force progress.
Yeah, I think he played great, to be honest. It was just tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we certainly weren't concerned about it anyways. Yeah.
Alright, so here's the Slitherwing for Chopch.
Classic.
Yeah. This guy, all he types in my chat is about Slitherwing. That's the only thing he cares about. It's really funny. But okay, this is Fogbound Lake with this like HO screens build that has been so successful the entire season. Whereas we have like this Bolts like bulky team. Also has been pretty good. Fat Luigi's been using it quite well as well. So yeah. This one I'm not really too sure about all the sets. I know it's like Sash Lando as like a stopgap to one of the threats. You have a bulky Raging Bolt, again a stopgap to one of the threats. This is also like Calm Mind Dual Stab. We have Spikes Ogerpon with Taunt as a lead. We have SD Shuka Overquill with Scale Shot. This was like really good in Mox, this Overquill. Really fantastic because it sets up on the Sableye, and then you basically have to trade Gyarados for it. There's nothing else that really you can do against it. Everything else just dies. And then Cyclozar, we had 4 attacks. Forget the item on this, but it was like a strong set just aimed at killing something. And then Scarf Slitherwing with a Terra Fighting CC, a pretty strong button to click. And then on the other side, yeah, you can go into it. This was definitely the matchup we worked on the least. Because Fac was just like busy. Yeah, he has a life.
Yeah. For me, this is like the matchup I work on the most, at least like on a pretty much a weekly basis. I worked really closely with Fog throughout the season on like our SV builds, especially with this team, because I'm like the one who is like, listen, I don't care what you guys are saying. We're drafting Terra Blaziken. We're making it work. I think this guy's broken. Hot take, I think it's like probably on the low end, like around top 5, top 6 Terra captains available. I think it's really good. It might be a little one-dimensional, but I just think it's
broken with
very,
screens.
very strong.
I think it's
it's
when you
really
pair it
broken
with a
screens.
Sableye and
specifically.
Sableye.
Yeah. That's like the main thing, but like, man, do I just think it's so strong.
It is.
And yeah, I think we certainly proved that to some degree this season. But yeah, looking at the build, I mean, there's not a lot of like variation you're really gonna even want to do with this team, but looking at like what we ended up bringing, it was pretty much the usual. We have Screen Sableye, we have a Fat Wisp Darkrai, which is also something we brought a lot, which patches together quite a few matchups. This actually wasn't Blaziken's best matchup though, in our opinion. Like you have double Intimidate, which can be awkward. You have a Bolt, which is definitely awkward, things like that. So we brought Mixed. We were actually Protect, Substitute, Fire Blast, Close Combat, which we were certainly having a much better time with overall. And like just in general, there was a lot of times where we had a sort of mid-groundish play where we could just pretty freely go for the what do I think you have Substitute, and then it was like very hard to stop Blaziken. But just in general, the dual stabs were pretty good on its own, so it was never really a real Terra option for us. Garchomp, we tried a few things, but like offensive Garchomp just looked so incredibly strong. So we were just SD loaded dice, scale shot, EQ, which is something we landed on quite quickly. And beyond that, like we tried some other things. We tried like Adrenaline Orb, but it ended up just being that like scale shot was pretty much optimal. And our last thought was actually Endure for first impression Slithering, which I thought was cool.
Makes sense,
to get,
yeah.
like, the extra chip beyond Protect. Metagross, this one, not me. Shout out Mind Gaming. So this was like our lead slot pretty much all week, but we were really tinkering with the item. The moves were pretty consistent, but we were like trying Cuss Stat, we were trying Citrus Berry, Resist Berries, things like that. We couldn't really lock in on like one specific thing that just felt like stronger than the rest. But what we did end up kind of realizing was that it was a strong attacker. So what Mind Gaming saw was he saw the Adrenaline Orb we tested on like 2 other Mons, and he was like, well, does this actually work on, what's it called? Does it work on
Clear Body?
Metagross? Because it gets intimidated, but there's like the Clear Body. So we actually ended up testing it out, and we found out, yes, it does work. You get the speed boost. And then Metagross, it doesn't lose its attack, but it's fast, and it has move selection. So it was pretty strong. And then last, it was just Gyarados, which we also found is a pretty underrated Terra Captain. I think in the last like 3 out of 4 weeks, we terrored the Gyarados. Even though like Blaziken's still my guy, like Gyarados is really strong too. It's cool. So it was definitely a mixture of the two. And then Terra Ground just looks strong to like, you know, resist Thunderclap, hit Overquill harder, hit like Cyclizar pretty hard. But we were kind of walled by Wellspring, so our plan was always chip that early. Our best coverage move for it was Scale Shot. So once we chip that, it's kind of like free reign for Gyarados to do some nice stuff. And that was really like the plan here.
So it feels like everything you say 100p is just disagreeing with in the chat for this game and the previous one.
With me?
I have no idea.
There's not underrated captain.
He might just be stupid.
I think 100p doesn't watch our games, to be honest, because he terrored in week 7, semis, and finals, and he was pretty good in all of them.
I also remember there was
he was definitely fine, and he had some other games where he like
There's a game in DPL Season 8, actually, which is a few years ago at this point, but there was a Terra Gyarados on Soggy Doggy Sage's team, and they brought
Chasers, right?
Yeah, Terra Dragon, a Scale Shot loaded dice into us, and it just like 6-0'd us. Like we didn't have anything for it. So like obviously,
I don't think
Terra
it's like
Gyarados,
the strongest by any means, but it's like 7 points.
Well, yeah, obviously,
it's
yeah,
good. Like,
it's good for the price for sure. As a secondary guy, like definitely good.
Yeah, that's more so where.
One thing I wanted to highlight real quick before we get into the game, Blaziken as a Terra user is really interesting to me, in the same way that Goldango is a pretty interesting Terra type for me, because both of them do different things, but like the same concept, where they take away a lot of the standard prep for these strong Terra guys. So usually it's going to be, if they're a slow setup guy, it's Encore, it's that sort of thing, Taunt, like the Absolutes, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, that sort of thing. Goldango doesn't care about any of those, but on the other side, for the offensive Terra guys, a lot of times you're going to run like the big button, right? The big revenge kill button with a choice scarf, or like something faster with a choice specs or choice band. And Blaziken, you just can't do that. So on the other side of things, Blaziken gets rid of a lot of the natural Terra counterplay. So you really have to be like creative, and like sometimes there just isn't a good option into Blaziken. Like for this, our best option was like keeping Sash Lando in the back to cover like Swords Dance sets, and you live one, you know? Like other than that, like we didn't have a whole lot for it, you know? But I digress. So here we have Ogerpon lead. Something I really wanted to, like I suggested this early in the week, was like physically defensive Ogerpon, because it kind of like walls a lot of guys and gets free spikes on pretty much everything, right? But he decided to go offensive instead. And he's going to get punished for it here, because the Metagross just goes for Psychic Fangs and 2-hit KOs, unfortunately. So we taunt because our Psycho Star doesn't have spin and our Lando's Sash, so if rocks go up, we're just fucked. So, and then we don't actually get any spikes up at all, which is like, could have used the spike there. Now we go Overquill, Adrenaline Orb pops, but Back Luigi told me after the game he didn't notice the Adrenaline Orb.
Yeah, we've heard of this. Yeah.
He just...
It's like
did not
understandable.
register.
It's not really like a super on the radar tech. Like,
well,
I mean,
apart
if
from
you're
it
talking
like
about this,
literally
like,
showing up on your
recently.
screen, but like
Besides that part, if you just
he's
get
just
boost
too
on
locked
Metagross,
in.
you're like, it boosted attack somehow, whatever. I don't know.
yeah, like if he
I
skips
guess.
turn and he sees like the 1.5x, he's like, oh, was it like a mash crit or something, and he just clicks. Like he clicked this super fast.
Yeah.
But Earthquake into our Shukaberry, we Swords Dance, which is a play that works if it's not +1 speed, but it is +1
Yeah,
speed,
and I
you
think
know?
Overquill was the correct revenge killer, but you just have to like really click crunch and
It just slipped his mind, I suppose. Now Slitherwing comes in, we're Scarf, and this kills, so...
Sure.
We lose 2 Mons for Elite Metagross, and then we're locked into close combat, and he knows we're locked. So we could just go Gyarados and Dragon Dance. We have to use our Sash now.
Yeah.
And it's clear Amulet Gyarados as well. Not only that...
Like, we could have put screens up, but Gyarados just felt like it was positioned so well at this point.
Not only that, it lives the
Kinda
Stone
goes
Edge,
straight.
which is disgusting.
Yeah.
How bulky is this Gyarados?
Yeah, no, it was honestly like max speed, max attack pretty much. Like, again, it's not that underrated, but it's a good mon. Yeah, it has good bulk, stuff like that. So
yeah.
It
This
just
is why I
kind of
love
takes one.
Rock Tomb on Lander's Tyrion.
Yeah, and then
Or through
crucially,
Amulet, so
you see the scale
it wouldn't
shot,
really make
so
a
it allows us to
difference.
get +2/+2, and now we have to give up our Raging Bolt and our Lando for the 1 threat, which is just something you can't afford to do. You need to use 1 for the Gyara, 1 for the Blaziken. That's how this team was built, and we were just not able to do so. So
yeah,
that's going
we
to
had
be the
to give
game.
up our Terra, but Blazikens didn't really matter too much at this point, and getting rid of Bolt in itself was just like very good for our game plan.
Yeah, now Slitherwing comes in, but Protect allows you to get the second speed boost. We lock U-turn, just trying to desperately attempt like catching the Sableye or something. But that's going to be the game. Really fast one.
Sure.
You could put that in a YouTube short for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, this team
always
just
like
feels
this.
really strong at like presenting threats one after another. It's hard to respond to all of them back to back. Like the different resist profiles, and they all set up on each other's counters. This is like a theory that I used in DPL season 9, I want to say, with one of our Sun and Moon teams. Where like it's a bunch of setup threats that set up on each other's counters. Yeah, and that felt pretty strong in theory. This one, you put the theory to practice, and like obviously this team popped off, and Fogbound has a fantastic record at the end. But
yeah, he ends up 6-2 in his first like major draft tour, which is really cool to see, and he was very fun to work with all season.
Would be my main draft to like show everyone like this is how you're supposed to draft, as in like don't try to check box. Make sure your draft has an identity, and make sure your draft has ways to win, instead of like trying to just check boxes and says like, oh, I have spikes, I have spin and stuff like that.
I think this is like
Instead,
just
it's like,
HO the team.
Yeah, I think for HO that's correct.
it's HO the
Probably.
team.
Yeah.
Like it's
Otherwise,
really
it's
good in
like,
that identity. Not a lot of flexibility, right? So it feels maybe a little bit matchup fishy, but I mean the matchup fish
there's
is like really in your favor. I feel like.
hazard stack mode with like Sableye, Garchomp stuff, and then otherwise you're just playing Screens HO every week. But it has all the threats and tools to like perfectly do that, even with like the Mon-Sweet bench.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot in existence that really walls all of these guys. So you're never gonna run into the situation of like, oh, I just can't do anything. A lot of these, they're also like pretty versatile. Like you saw the Darkrai, they've been using a lot of like Fat Wisp sets to patch up holes in the team, like stuff like that. Garchomp as well, Swiss Army Knife. Gyarados also like sneaky, like versatile.
Yeah, sneaky bulky, like we saw.
Yeah,
it has good utility for sure.
I remember we played this this team in regular season, and we mocked against a lot of like Rest Talk Gyarados with T-Wave as like the Tusk check, because I think this played our Tusk team earlier.
I did, yes, I believe so. Fact played it in week 3 or whatever it was with Fog playing.
Like, there's a lot you could do.
Yeah.
Right. So now the series, by the way, tied up 3-3. So these last 2 games really important. We can either force a tie break, or one of the teams could even win it all. Here we have Fiend versus Fuckass 100p. This is Aonfa, who's been having a pretty solid season. Fiend, he's been like 1-1 so far, more so an emergency sub for the most part. He came in when Nala decided to not play anymore, so that's fun. And outside of that, I mean, Fiend's been, you know, kind of like your classic Smogon player who doesn't really give a bep. He's just there to play the games, and you know, that's it. So we prepped this team for him, had him do a few mocks, and then just go in. I will say this was like really well prepped from your guys' side. I don't know if like there's like a whole lot we could have done to anticipate this Jirachi set in particular, but we had some really strong stuff as well on our side. The Aerodactyl in particular was like really good in mocks, able to unnerve Pursuit Trap the Mismagius, which Mismagius is like a pretty hard counter to Lando in this gen. So then Lando becomes really scary in the end game with our Choice Scarf.
Right.
We also had Healing Wish Mesprit to give oftentimes the second Aerodactyl. This is Life Orb mixed with Hidden Power Flying. So we knew the Tangela was going to come as the arrow check, and Hidden Power Flying does so much to Tangela. Like, it dies after a Stone Edge type thing. Like, you can't switch in. So the arrow is always going to be our win condition in this kind of thing, or like arrow into Scarf Lando was also like pretty common. But also we had another really cool set, which is Metagross, which is Agility sub Lychee Berry mash EQ. And what this does is you can use it early game to force like a kill and a half, or what you can do is bring it out late game and it kind of like can clean up. Then this Hydreigon was our lead, really strong as well. Like Dark Pulse you don't really have a whole lot for besides T-Tar, but we have Superpower and T-Wave. You can really like cripple the opposing team quite well with this Hydreigon. It's like physically defensive, walls T-Tar and stuff like that. Really good stuff. And then our Lantern is just the Cleric, slow Volt Switch, momentum guy. That's pretty much it. Mesprit is Rocks. Reflect as well to avoid Pursuit.
Aonfa's stuff in a sec. I really liked Black and White as a tier. I think it got probably the most hate of all of them, but I thought it was pretty good. It was a fun time.
My take on that is Black White was my least favorite tier, but it wasn't awful. You know, I like all the tiers. You know, it just in general. DPP was like, I could go without that one, but Black White, I was also a similar thing where like it's not bad, but I'd rather just play some more Oras, Usum, Swish, or whatever.
Yeah, I think Team Preview is a big buff, and just some of the other options of Mons, things like that, definitely made me a bit on the happier end. But
and old crits, man, I hate them.
Fire. Well, that's unavoidable.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't know, something you said, like our Smogon guys, like even though it was whatever, Fog, Mind, they were really active early on in the week and testing a lot, which I appreciated anyways. But Aonfa, he's a draft player. He's like an ADV guy. Most people did not know him at all, but if there's like an ADV team tour, this guy's like 30, 35K. So he's like that sort of guy. So like none of my co-captains like really knew him, but I was like, I know this guy's gonna be good. Let's just see how it goes, basically.
Yeah, he was on our radar going into the auction. Well, not going into it, but once we drafted Jake was like, you got to check out this guy. He's like actually good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just didn't end up that way in the auction, but yeah, we definitely knew about this guy, and
Yeah,
he
I
performed
think it
quite
was
well.
literally just us two bidding on him, and yeah, he ended up, I think, winning tier MVP.
Yeah.
But this team is apparently not supposed to ever happen in black and white with like the combo of Jirachi, Titar, Alakazam. Lando usually falls because it only really goes on the sand team apparently, but otherwise this was like unusual. But like in this matchup, Miss Mag was max Fizz Def, max special attack specs, which we found
obviously
was very good. Yeah, I mean, didn't really need to be fast, and it kind of walled out a lot of stuff. And your Dark Resistor was just the Hydreigon, which we honestly expected was probably going to be something more along the lines of like Scarf than what you actually ended up bringing. But like Lando, just Rock Polish, Yachi Berry, like standard stuff on this sort of team.
Yeah.
T-Tar was Rocky Helmet. It was our rocker. It was basically just there to chip stuff down. It had Roar as well. It had Ice Beam. Like it was just like kind of a fat, annoying guy. Jirachi, I'm not even gonna spoil the set. It's just like it's a cool win con. With Aonfa, he brought Iron Head. I think he brought it once, but he clicked it 0 times all season. So like I don't know, Jirachi in this gen reminds me more of like a Mew than a Jirachi in a weird way, if that makes sense. Where it's like you can kind of just do anything, and it's definitely not like pigeonholed into one specific sort of set at any point. It'll just like do what it wants to. But like Tangela, I think the Eviolite, like NFEs are just really, really strong in this tier where there's like a lack of bulk. This thing just knocks off, and I think we brought like Stun Spore, HP Fire, just like kind of what you'd expect. Same thing with Zam, which was really just Sash as like a get out of jail free card or end game sort of just like winner.
Yeah, Sash Zam felt like really mandatory here.
Yeah, it's pretty much mandatory every matchup to be honest, but like it felt just as good here as usual. And yeah, that's like the team. It wasn't that different than our prep most times, besides having like a cool Jirachi and some bulky stuff. But
the thing that did surprise us in the game was the HP Fire on Tangrowth or Tangela. We thought it would be HP Ice for sure. So our Metagross was designed to like sub on that. We thought like the button you click into Meta was going to be Leech Seed because we don't have like a grass type on the team. Felt that was a pretty strong click from you, and thus can justify the HP Ice. But HP Fire obviously worked out. But yeah, let's get into it. Hydreigon is going to lead off into Mismagius. Good lead for us. Can't just go for a T-Wave, catches any switch, really. And T-Tar is going to come in. We do have the superpower, so Aonfa probably going to scout for that, right? Yeah, into the Tangela.
Yeah, he is. We took Chopple off at the last second because we feared this, so might as well scout, at least, was kind of the logic there.
Yeah. But now Dark Pulse, like, we get to chip the Tangela at least and get a lucky flinch, which is nice. But like you can just go back to the T-Tar, farm some regen. Here, Fiend goes to Fiend, the Mesprit, to trade rocks basically. We want rocks up for sure in a game like this. With Arrow, especially like the damage rolls change significantly with rocks up on like the Tangela, T-Tar, stuff like that.
Yep.
Here, T-Tar reveals to be very bulky with a Rocky Helmet and Roar as well. Roar's like forces us into Michael Therian, which is like we're fine with that, you know? Just U-turn, get some chip on this. Now it's in range of pretty much everything. We just go to Lantern to absorb the Ice Beam. So this T-Tar is completely walled by Lantern, which is cool. I think we just Volt here. Yeah. Oh no, we Heal Bell. Get rid of the
You Heal Bell, which is pretty nice to get rid of that para. But at this point, it's like Miss Mag's positioned nicely to just fire off the Spec Shadow Ball, which looks really strong into your team. We don't really know your Hydreigon yet, but it looks just strong in general.
But now locking...
You get your Sand Boost. So this makes sense as well.
Yeah, locking means we can just pursue, it dies. But because you're max defense, you actually live just barely, so kind of crazy there. But crucially, our arrow does survive, so there is that healing wish opportunity into it that we were talking about. But at the same time, we didn't really use the arrow to weaken the arrow checks as intended, right? It was to trap Miss Mag and then get some chip on some stuff later. But because you lived that, it like really messes with our game plan. So now Tangela comes in, like, okay, if we beat the Tangela here with HP flying...
Does go before rocks?
Yes. In Gen 4 it doesn't, but in Gen 5 it does.
Oh, okay.
But if we HP flying this, which you don't know, we have like special attack investment.
Right.
It could be like potentially game winning for our Scarf Lando, for example. So I think Fiend just decides to go for it here. Like it would kill.
And what? Yeah, it would. Our logic was literally just, let's get free regen this turn, and then go into T-Tar, which is living anything, and Life Orb chips itself.
Like, it makes
that
sense,
ended up
obviously.
working out, but we didn't think about it, I think, in like that way, but it just kind of ended up being a catch-all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Metagross comes in to revenge the T-Tar. Can just kind of kill it, right? Meteor Mash. You take some helmet, but that's not really the end of the world. This should be an entry point for Lando, I think, but instead, maybe doesn't want to play around with the opposing Lando or Mesprit coming in. Even like Hydreigon can kind of somewhat come in on it, not really, but Tangela's going to come in. And we're sub for this situation in particular, so just going to go for the sub, trying to catch a Leech Seed, and we do. So now, pretty free to just click Mash, which only does 28, but your HP Fire is revealed, which is like, frick. Now here, one thing that Fiend could have done is just Agility on this turn, as HP Fire knocks him into Leechy range, and then you would knock out the Tangela, force a KO on something. And then you'd have Agility up for the next. Cool. Yeah. So I think that would have forced the Sash to be given up on Zam.
Yeah, for sure. We would have to go Zam, and like Zam's like a resource that we can kind of use for whatever, but like you don't really want to lose it, so that would have put a lot more pressure on us.
But now, because we didn't get the Agility, now Lando can come in and just safely revenge us. We're gonna save this sack Lantern because you can Healing Wish the Mesprit, or with the Mesprit into Metagross, and that's better than Healing Wishing the Lantern. So may as well just pick your sack.
That kind of showed us, okay, this is Healing Wish, which influences our next turn.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that was like a good play to just keep that around.
So Mesprit comes in, and then Jirachi is going to be the answer to Mesprit as we Healing Wish. And this is like the slam dunk. Metagross comes in, and we kind of wall Jirachi for the most part, and Earthquake is pretty strong, unless this is literally physically defensive. Turns out it's something far more sinister, right? We get the Agility, we're faster than Jirachi, which is a little bit of crucial information, but Jirachi with the Iron Defense, and we've used up our Lychee Berry. It's going to be hard to break this. You can see Earthquake does 20%.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So this is like max Fizz Def.
The fact that your Agility here, it gives you those crit chances like once in a while, which are like, that's your out into this, but otherwise this set was basically soloing whatever.
Yeah, Thanos.
Like most of the mocks we were playing, it was really, really strong.
No, for sure. Like, I'm looking at this like, what could we have possibly brought that could beat this? Like, I don't really know.
And it's not a lot. I think what we ended up discussing was like, if you guys went right into Hydreigon, you had way better hacks odds, and you could have probably T-waved it, because I don't know how
we could have
fast you were,
T-waved it.
like
Yeah, we revealed to be faster in the game.
Yeah, so that would have helped a lot for sure. And then like just in general, Dark Pulse plus T-Wave, like you always have an out if you have that on your side. But in general, like it was also pretty tough, especially with normal lines.
Because we're very defensive on Hydreigon, these Drain Punches, which is going to reveal eventually, don't really do any damage. So like you can...
No, they really don't.
You can roost until full para. Yeah, but like at this point, like the sub is guaranteed. You're already +1. We're just cooked.
Yeah,
like we go for like mash raises to try to match the defense boost, but like we just never get it. We actually miss more mashes than we hit low key. But it really doesn't matter at this point. The Jirachi is going to eventually break through.
Speed it all up. Like you kind of know what's going to happen. Like there's the chance here and there that you'll crit, but like here he makes a good heads up play and subs on the break turn, and then that's kind of where it's like sealed.
Yeah, Earthquake will break the
like,
sub, but Mash obviously knocks this out. Then it's Hydreigon versus the World. Low key winnable, but not really. So we are faster with the T Wave. You see Drain Punch, even at +2 is like 50%.
Yeah.
So maybe with some lucky paras, you know? Because this Hydreigon kind of 1v1s the rest of the team if it's not like Superpower Landers exactly, and like you miss a Focus Blast on Zam, stuff like that. Like it could.
Yeah, it's
there's a world.
Zam, so it's like it's not as strong.
That probably doesn't kill. Yeah, we just T Wave
like half or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's certainly less strong. Yeah, but that's kind of how it goes, anyways. Yeah, this is a really cool set. He was cooking with Jirachi. It was really fun to see because I thought it was just gonna like be broken due to the fact that it's like an Iron Head bot, and we just found that wasn't the case. It's crazy it wasn't even max points. I think now it's like pretty much being considered top like 2 mon, not like 3 wherever we got it.
Yeah, it's like Jirachi is so good, dude.
Yeah,
and now the like, another attack boost, so now Drain Punch is not really roostable anymore. So they're just gonna go for some like flinch crit, whatever, and that's gonna be the game. So now you guys are up 4-3 into game 8. And as far as game mates go,
Indeed.
Glop versus 100p
Cinema, right?
for all the marbles. I mean, it's a good watch no matter what happens, right?
Two players who've certainly played quite a lot in the past as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some good history there.
Because it's the final game, let me go ahead and grab the matchup from our prep channel.
Might as well.
Yeah. Oh, that is not what I wanted to click.
Do you guys ever consider Barrier Zam, by the way?
We brought Reflect a lot more than Barrier throughout the season. I don't think we ever brought Barrier. I mean, it looks okay there, but you know, in the crit gen, it's always a bit sketchy. We often found it's better just to have a reliable, I guess, like, don't lose con. I don't know what to call it. Just like the Sash set was always really consistent.
All right, matchup is now on screen.
Epic.
For you guys in call, you won't see it, but it's in the Mark Hunter channel. It's pinned. Yeah, if you want to look at it. Okay, so this game. So this was actually a really fun prep. We have Rock Polish Steelix as our win condition. I just wanted to start with that. So Rock Polish Steelix outspeeds the entire team that isn't Scarf at +2 because the Gengar and the Raikou are pretty inclined to just creep our 100s. Especially Raikou to get that Rash Nature Aura Sphere into us makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you ended up being that or not, but regardless, our Steelix at +2 is designed to creep those kinds of guys. As well as, you know, it's just very strong, and we have Taunt to prevent Whirlwind Scarm. And the thing is with the Steelix, it does like 70% to like the things that it doesn't kill. So it's pretty easy to get a little bit of chip, and then you just kill everything besides Scarm, and Scarm gets taunted, and Brave Bird is doing a net 2%, you know, after leftovers. So Steelix does 1v1 the Scarm. So that's like the entire game plan of this. You can either set up for a Rock Polish turn on something like T-Tar or the Skarmory itself, or you can just para everything, like whichever comes first. So we have T-Wave Mesprit, we have Discharge, Zapdos, stuff like that, aimed at just slowing down 100p's team, spreading paralysis, and then Steelix in the end game is just able to Thanos snap the majority. And the thing with Steelix as well, it's bulky enough where if you don't para the whole team, or like you only get one Rock Polish and you're slower than the Scarf Primeape, it's fine, you live. So you can live one hit from Primeape or T-Tar or Raikou or, you know, or Piloswine, for example. And those are the mons that you don't OHKO from full, really. So as long as you can,
really cool.
As long as you can limit to only one of those guys is healthy, the Steelix is like really, really good in the end game. That's what we found. And also to facilitate that, we have Banded Pursuit Weavile, get rid of the Gengar, obviously. That's one thing that can check the Steelix. As well as you revenge kill like a Calm Mind Raikou. Calm Mind Raikou is like the scariest set into us in prep, as it kind of like beats everything 1v1, but the problem is it's not a 1v1 because we can go to Zapdos, which is like max Spadef basically, and it's actually charge as well. So we get a Spadef boost, and eventually we'll find a situation where even if it's sub Calm Mind, we'll be able to break it with T-Bolt into U-turn, slow U-turn, to get our Punishment Weavile in. We've spammed a lot of Punishment Weavile this season, I'm not gonna lie, but Punishment able to OHKO Raikou after a Calm Mind, and like a sub. Yeah, so that was our main revenge tool. T-Tar was pretty scary. For that, we have like physically defensive Blastoise. We have a pretty bulky Shaman that can live like a +1 hit after Rocks and T-Spikes, you know? So there's that, and also we have Banded Shard on the Weavile if it gets like too fast, too strong. Obviously benching Hariyama is a little bit risky into T-Tar, but I felt we had it pretty covered between Blastoise, Shaman, and you know the Weavile faster than +1. All that combined, plus like T-Wave Zapdos, T-Wave Mesprit, doesn't really set up on anything in particular. Obviously, we'll get to there, but yeah, Shaman fat, but also like modest, pretty strong, creeping like a slow, like Tentacruel for example, or like a really fast, like Skarmory for example. HP Electric, Psychic, Seed Flare kind of kills the entire lobby, so we just ran that. I think the fourth move was Growth is what we landed on, to 1v1 like a bulky Skarm trying to roost on us. But like that might have been Rest, we were in between the two of those. What else? Blastoise was Foresight to cover like a Gengar spin block. And that's pretty much it. I think we've covered the whole team. It's just top 6. Do you look at yours now?
I have a 100-piece team pulled up. One sec on my own screen. Okay, let me take a look. Yeah, so this matchup, there was a lot of stuff that was giving us grief, and we tried out a lot of different versions. Specifically, I would say we tried a lot of Titars and Raikus because Zap was a problem. Hariyama could stop a lot of what we had. We were actually really surprised you didn't bring that. Thought it was a really good lead, which you did week 3, but also like a really good Titar check in the late game or the end game. But Titar, it ended up being our main win con. It was DD Resto Chesto with Stone Edge low kick. And that usually, like, it was fat enough where you could usually rest off after you DD on like the Shaman, the Blastoise, the Steelix in certain cases and get like an extra DD chance or something like that. So that was like a cool set. Gengar ended up being our dedicated lead, which was definitely not expected for a lot of the time, but it was like pretty much just okay at trading with most things. It was like Colbur Berry, which, you know, was relatively effective. Scarm was kind of like, I think, mixed defenses, mostly Spadef by the end, but it was really just there to, you know, get up rocks and try to keep them up and not really let your offense win. Raikou was our primary Zap check. We were having like a good time with some specific offensive sets at many points of the week, but we kind of ultimately found that there were certain Zapdoses, especially with HP ground, that could farm our entire team and farm our Raikou, which was just really scary. So we were rest talk, and like with pressure, it can pretty much stall out any Zap set if that need be, but otherwise it can usually break it. Tentacruel was just Shuka offensive. Like, again, it's speed ties Zap, it's speed ties Shaman, but like last time we brought Specs, which was like crazy, and it was doing really well into no licks. So I'm guessing, I think you mentioned it, but yeah, part of the reason why you changed your prep the way you did anyways. But yeah, so that was a cool set. It was pretty strong offensively. And then lastly, Scarf Primeape, who was like one of our MVPs of the season. That guy should not be 7 points in DPP. Although it's weaker than most of the other fighters, U-turn access and then base 95. So you can, the speed doesn't matter much, but like running Adamant is so useful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Primeape
it makes up
just,
for
like,
the fact
really,
that it's
really
not as strong. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And like U-turn just kind of makes it better than like locking CC into all the psychics and ghosts in this tier.
Yeah,
But
and
that was
into
like
our
kind of our
team,
prep.
there's like
it was standard enough.
there's like no reason you can't be like 128 HP Adamant. Like
Yeah,
it
exactly.
ends up taking like a pretty reasonable amount of hits.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, for sure. Yeah.
Let's get into
Go
the
ahead
game.
with the game.
All right, so lead is going to be Mesprit 123 hee 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 into Gengar. So Glop was really not expecting lead Gengar at all. Like he would get mad at people when they brought lead Gengar because he was like, it's never coming. So a little bit of vindication for some people.
It's specifically lead non-papaya.
Yeah, okay, sure. But lead Gengar goes for a Shadow Ball. The idea was if this is Specs, you know, we can just Pursuit Drive it next turn no matter what. And we live anything besides that. So just go for a Zen Headbutt. This is like Adamant Mesprit as well. So like it kills... Like Mesprit is pretty strong into a lot of stuff. Like switching into Zen Headbutt is not particularly easy, especially when T-Tar is the only like super safe switch in. And you can just go for a really strong U-turn next turn into our Blastoise. It's like winning.
Ring.
Yeah. So immediately
when
trade.
that happened, RBC was like, see you guys in tie breaks, because
Yeah.
most of the, like a lot of people hadn't really looked that closely at his prep or just like mocked him once, and they didn't know that we were like kind of okay with this trade. We'd seen it before, but yeah, people were like dooming immediately after this.
Yeah. So Primeape comes in for a really free U-turn. Just gonna go Zapdos. You never really click Stone Edge there in that situation, so pretty safe. Now T-Tar finds its way onto the field, and here, when I was watching this, I was thinking this looks like it could be like Scarf or Banded. That's something we were a little bit concerned about, is like a mid-game Banded T-Tar. Because once you catch the Steelix once, it's like, this really does a lot of damage. And also that's our win con. So we go into Blastoise, take a Stone Edge. It does about expected damage, so it's not Banded. Could be Scarf though. But here it reveals to be DD and faster than our Blastoise. And Surf reveals it to be like no bulk, basically. So this could be like a Jolly, could be Adamant. We're not really too sure at this point. You can like fill me in if you want. This is kind of important for some calcs.
Yeah, so it wasn't really that bulky. I believe that we were Adamant. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think from here, it was like we were EV'd so we could at least comfortably rest off something like that and get a second DD like we do here. But like generally speaking, we were assuming defensive sets on most of your guys. So it's like pretty comfortable with the sand boost to just be mostly fast and like Adamant, because our plan was always to get 2 DDs. We tried out screens this week. 1 DD is like T-Tar is really not that good. There's a Steelix, there's a Blastoise, but if you can get to 2 somehow, it felt really strong.
Yeah. Now usually a Steelix would live this hit, but because we're so fast and not bulky, it's actually like a roll in your favor for us to die. So instead, we're going to sack Mesprit.
Like really no bulk. And like this to us signaled like we might have just won the game. We just need to hit 2 Stone Edges. We need to Stone Edge Shaman, Stone Edge Mesprit, and you know, it might be over. If Steelix is scared of this anyways. Oh? And there's the one that we needed to hit, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
But we had a bit of insurance until you crit U-turn.
Yeah.
That was a strong U-turn, but I don't know if you
I don't think it killed
or anything. Yeah.
We had banded Ice Shard in the back.
Sure.
Like we would have been forced to click Ice Shard essentially.
Yeah. So you know,
it's like the miss mattered. The crit was like probably matters because like it feels like the T-Tar probably doesn't get a heal opportunity. Not necessarily, but at the same time, it's obviously losing a piece sucks. And obviously, you would have won if you just hit all your moves. I think like the Shaman would live a +2 hit, but then we're giving up Mesprit and our Shaman basically because we'd die to sand almost surely. And then it's like, this is really tough, you know? But okay.
Yeah.
Now Skarm comes in. We're just gonna get Mesprit in before Rocks for a Rocks trade. Like, we're okay with rocks on both sides, as long as we just trade. He has a 40% chance to die to edge, so it usually doesn't win instantly. Yeah, like, miss chance plus the roll on Shaman, we would probably be okay. Like, not lose instantly on the spot, but yeah. You can rest for extra sand chip. That's a good point. Yeah, but who's to say? Now Zapdos in on the Skarm.
Yeah, I do swear Tentacruel's the carry of the team. That one's pretty broken. Any tier. But yeah, no. Now it's like this is like our counterplay. We had to design something that like really didn't lose to Zapdoses, and it could still lose to some HP ground Zaps, but for the most part, like when we see charge, we're kind of like, oh shit, like this is gonna take a while.
Yeah, but then discharge Para into J Ricky into Para.
Yep.
Into
naturally
Para into crit. So we'll call it even, right?
Classic. Yeah.
We'll call it even.
Classic.
That really sucks because this Zapdos like low-key sat on the entire team, you know? But also this Raikou also sat on the Zapdos. So it's like at some point, the Zapdos is just going to find an opportunity to like charge into discharge into U-turn and get like our banded Ice Punch. Like that's probably the sequence that would end up happening. Or even like a U-turn into Steelix, right? Because Steelix looks really good with Earthquake. You can just kind of click it because Skarm coming in you don't care about.
No.
But we don't get the opportunity. Zapdos just freaking dies. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Shout out DPP.
Yeah, that's just the DPP classic.
Yeah, the experience.
No other way to say that. Yeah.
Now Shaman in can go for a Seed Flare, which will 2-hit KO. But no lefters means this is probably a roll, but looks like a high roll into like a low roll kind of thing. And it's gonna be a trade at the end of the day.
Yeah, no matter what, that was ending in like a trade pretty much. So it kind of was what it was.
Now I see Tentacruel into Blastoise. 2 spinners, probably not going to spin. Rocks are not a big deal for either side at this point. But they do pretty big damage to each other. I think we're going to see Sludge Bomb into EQ. And this pops the Shuka Berry, which is one step closer to a Steelix win, right? Once you Rock Polish, the Primeape, you know, it'll lose 1v1 to the Steelix, but the chip will be a lot into Steelix. So we'll get into that situation in a sec. But here, Blastoise just goes down to the next Sludge Bomb. And now we have to go Weavile, obviously.
Yeah.
So Weavile's in. And And now this is like the turn, right? Because Tentacruel obviously dies to Night Slash, but there's a full HP Skarm right there. So it's pretty easy for 100p to be like, okay, this Steelix is kind of scary. I want to save my strong water type and just go Skarmory, even if Skarmory like dies to 2 Ice Punches, like for example, like, or you get crit or something, you still have the Scarf Primate Pin, and then you CC, trade for Steelix, and then Tentacruel will win, right?
Because it's just much better to hit the Steelix on the special side, of course. So, you know, it's you want to keep Tentacruel in pretty much most cases, because our Skarmory really does not have anything it can, you know, do to Steelix.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the case. Yeah.
But here, Glop, definitely a misplay here. If you're expecting... like, punishment makes sense if you expect the Tentacruel to be sacked, but that's just an impossible play to make in this, like, endgame situation. So either you can Pursuit, or you can Ice Punch. Either or. But punishment is just never the click, unfortunately. And you're going to see why. Is because he's going to calc Choice Band off of this, and he knows that the pivot to Primeape is completely free. And once the Primeape gets into position against the Steelix, it's just checkmate, because then you have a pin with Tentacruel into Steelix, and with Rocks Up, Weavile will die.
The Rocks and Sand Up. Yeah. So this was good for 100, because even if you you stay in aggressively, like it's
completely free. It's still a pin with Primeape.
And we know we outspeed next turn. Yeah. Like,
and
I'm not even sure
at that point, even like I think you had to Pursuit actually. Even Ice Punch, if you like to KO the Skarm, is still losing because of the Primate pin. Because you can't Rock Polish and be faster than Primeape, because Steelix has base 30 speed, you know? It's just impossible. So you'd have to trade with Earthquake, and then Tentacruel wins. So Pursuit is the only way to get that done.
Though, our Primeape, it was Scarf, it had Vacuum Wave on it, and in a lot of mocks it was coming up and saving us because of like SD Weavile just clicking Shard to beat it, which I thought was really funny.
That is cool.
So like
that was sure.
That was one of our outs if you got like 2 Rock Polishes off with Steelix somehow, and like we kept it like slightly low somehow. It was really funny prep.
I don't think that would work in this end game, but it's a cool concept, right? Because the only thing that's chipping Steelix meaningfully is the Primeape itself, and you're trading
or like
EQ for CC.
But you're like way faster than our team, for instance. It's like in that range usually is like kind of the idea, which is funny. Normally it was just for Weavile, but
for
we went through the game after because we were trying to figure out like could we have lost this? Like
I think if you Pursuit the Tentacruel,
like, this sort of end game.
I think once you Pursuit the Tentacruel, I think the Lix does just win, because the Tentacruel die, and because of DPP mechanics, Skarm comes out anyways, and you actually don't scout band out of that.
That's why we didn't, or that's like why we played a certain way, and we had certain mocks, because we found that mechanic, and we were like, we can never switch out Gengar on lead, for example, in certain cases, or like if we think Weavile's gonna Pursue, we never switch, because then we're forced into a position we don't necessarily want, and it's just like really rough.
Because then if you Pursuit Tentacruel, it's always just hard Steelix the next turn on full HP Skarm. And then the Steelix just clicks Taunt and wins the game. Like, as long as the Skarm doesn't like frame 1 Taunt itself, you just lose. You ran calcs after the game, we can actually 1v1 Lix from 28% since it does 3 to 6 net damage after lefties. It does not, it does less. 6 is like too high. It does like depending on the Skarm, like if you're like adamant, maybe. But I calced it. I mean, the one I was looking at was it does like 9 max, or like somewhere around there. Maybe I'm misremembering, but yeah, our Steelix was lefties.
Yeah. So that makes it kind of tough. I guess you can taunt us and stuff.
Yeah, taunt, Rock Polish.
It, though.
Yeah, once you get like the second Rock Polish up, the game ends as well. So like, yeah. Oh well, Pursuit wasn't clicked, so now the double to Primeape is free. 100p obviously spots that, and now Steelix is forced to take the CC, and then it's just a pin with Tentacruel in the end game. Bang.
That was
good. Congratulations to Better Call Stall. It was a good series at the end of the day. Like, I'm not super upset about it. You guys were a great team. It was good prep from both sides, I think, for the most part.
I agree. I think it was a great series.
A worthy finals.
Especially compared to, like, the semis, things like that. Even tiebreak was...
the
tiebreak was a wash as well.
Yeah.
So, like, it felt nice to have a competitive series. And,
I guess there was
It
like
good.
crit
We
freeze
definitely
odds at
thought
the
you
end,
guys were
right?
the strongest other team.
For
Yeah,
sure.
true, crit
We
freeze odds.
thought the same about you. Like the finals matchup felt inevitable, and like our semifinals versus these only was a tie in the regular season or like the regular series because like they double froze us into like two hacks games,
in
like
2 games. Yeah, like respect to the Thieves, but like also it was like I thought we were just gonna be playing you. I didn't think we would have that week off.
I was told you guys put our matchups in the tier selection channels.
Yeah,
Like,
I put that in our tier channel on the Sunday during Game 7. Was that Dr. Geo? Yeah. I mean, I just thought Dr. Geo had won, and my iPhone broke on St. Patrick's Day when I was doing some stuff. So I was like, shit, like before I'm out, I have to like post these matchups. Like I think Flex is just surely winning, and then Fiend's winning otherwise. I was like, I just thought you guys had won that game, and we posted them, and we're like, we're just gonna leave these up. I think they're
Yep.
And then they just sat there for like 8 days, and then we did end up reusing them, which was pretty funny. Yeah, we were confident we'd play.
Ryan said you did that after KB died to Scarf CC from him on top. But okay,
we did do that.
That's DWL. Folks, if you've enjoyed these like watch throughs, obviously we went very in depth for the finals with J-Scurf here, so thanks to J-Scurf for the insight into the opponent's prep. That was really great for the stream. But if you have enjoyed these streams, the content, coming up soon is going to be Draft Premier League Season 10, which is another big draft team tournament. It's the one that I run. I've run it for quite a long time now, 7 years or so, 7 or 8 years, getting up there. Like I'm old, I get it, but that's going to be starting as soon as Champions drops. We're going to get the ball rolling with Captain Apps. The auction will be early May, and then we'll have a bunch of content for that over the next few months. And obviously with Champions coming out, it's a really exciting time to be like playing Pokemon. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a great event. Obviously sign up for that once the signups drop. I'll have a whole like plug thing. Check out my server below if you want more information, all that sort of thing. And that's my plug out of the way. Basically, DPL is going to be great this season. Really looking forward to it. Pretty packed calendar, honestly, this year. I know a lot of other team tours are also starting up for Champions, but obviously DPL is, you know, the big one. So if you're paying attention to anything, pay attention to that one. We'll have some more stuff coming out. And we're doing the Champions draft board in collaboration with the DGBA folks, is my understanding. So that'll be great. Some updates to the old tiers as well. Like we're really thinking about doing a Z budget for Usum to shake up that meta. That's something we're pondering at the moment. And it'll be really cool if that goes through. But that's all I have to say. J-Script, do you have anything you want to shout out? Or anyone else in the call, really?
I just want to shout Better Call Saul. That was probably the most fun team I've been on.
Same. Like,
good
Flex Appeal was super fun for us as well.
Yeah. I want to shout out the helpers, too.
The reason that Better Call Saul won, I told Scarf already, is because they have more Canadians than us.
True.
We had 2.
We did have more Canadians.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, just shouting out like people who helped Mock a lot, like both on and off the team, like Ryan, Impulse, they were like completely integral to the success. Also like Killer, Soviet Onion. I don't know. There's like, I think what you were saying in the stream last week resonated with me, where it's like it is the best way to improve and get like serious, meaningful reps. And we also appreciated all their help for sure. People were worried our team would be dead, so we ended up getting quite a lot of help, and it got us across the finish line.
Yeah, our server almost transported itself into like the new like general chat of like a bunch of like really good players. So that was fun as well. A lot of brain rot, but brain rot can be fun.
Yeah, if you look down at the channel, there's like prep channels for
our refugees.
Like,
and
I see that.
Really and it's funny. All like the funny names too. Like we got Crit, we got Abdullah. Shout out to Dash and Kevs. That guy's great.
No, shout out.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways,
also, this thumbnail. I just wanted to blow this up onto the page. Like, this is so funny.
This is good. Yeah,
Thanos.
I joined the stream on like the mobile, so I did get to see the full image. This is tough.
I made this mesothelioma thing like earlier this week.
Yeah, I've been seeing that one.
This was a good find for me. Obviously, you saw the Jirachi that said in black white, the Zard Y from Owen's game, the Gyarados from Fogbound, and then obviously the Dookie Whisperer Wyatt using Cofagrigus. You have T-Tar missing the Stone Edge. Has anyone seen my glasses? Zapdos wearing the glasses. It's just, I think this is super fun. Anyways, that's all. We're coming up on 3 hours on the stream. I think that's probably a good stopping point.
I think so too. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching. Yeah. Another brain rot thing I just wanted to share with the class. Need a little bit of context to set this one up. Like for example, let's just pick a random game. What's a good example? Like what does Lilligant even do? You know the meme? What does a Lilligant even do? That was one of my favorite bits. No one ever laughs at it, but I laugh at it. I think it's really funny.
I laugh at it. That's so pretty good.
Don't do that again.
Yeah. I made that that soundboard by like on my computer. Because like originally we had one similar to it, but I was like, this would be way better with more basos. So I just panned like one to the left, one to the right, and they're offset. Okay, that's enough brain rot. I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks for watching. If you want to support, leave a like. Yep.